Hello, season's greetings, and welcome to the regular Friday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID. Tonight we'll be discussing the Spurs Man United game and doing a preview of Spurs versus Liverpool on Sunday. So welcome to everyone in the chat, and without further ado, I shall introduce our guests. Alan, how are you, mate?
I'm doing well. How are all you gentlemen doing?
We're doing well. One draw and two wins. I'm a happy bunny, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
And Eugene, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you.
He's doing great.
Thanks for
And
having
Mark?
me.
Yeah, all's good, mate. All's good. I've recovered from last night.
Recovered? All right.
Well, yeah, it was heart attack at the end.
Right. Post-match Spurs versus Man United. I'll start with you, Alan. We always give the guests most of the questions. When you saw the lineup, was you happy with the lineup, or did you think, well, there wasn't much to choose from, really? I mean, we're not down to the bare bones; we're down to the bone marrow, aren't we? You know.
Oh yeah, we've been cut down to the quick, but I felt pretty good about the lineup. It was the strongest lineup I think we could have put forth, considering all of the injuries. So it was kind of expected, but I was really glad to see Spence in there. I was glad he got another chance to start. And I was happy to see Gray. I like watching Gray play. He's pretty good.
Eugene, your take on the lineup?
Yeah, I agree. We didn't have that many options on the bench. This is basically the only lineup that Ange could have played. So I was happy. When I saw it, I knew we had a good chance of beating Man U.
And Mark, when you saw the lineup, was you happy with it?
Oh, I was very pleased. It's like you said, it's about the strongest we could have gone with. And I've been saying for ages, just get a trophy. Stuff the league, we're not going to win that anyway.
I'll give you the subs because he obviously rested Udogie for possibly Sunday. Don't think so. Udogie's had a slight quad issue or whatever. Like so. Subs, Alan, you familiar with any of these?
I mean, you know what? To be perfectly honest, I'm not familiar with Malachi Hardy or Callum Alusesi, but everyone else I am familiar with. Even Reguilon, who we've got to be desperate if Reguilon is in the lineup somewhere.
Eugene, you familiar with these on the lineup?
Yeah, I wish I wasn't familiar with Timo, but unfortunately I am. Other than that, I mean, you can tell two keepers. Johnson got a rest, and I'm surprised I don't believe he came in, right? But yeah, said Reggio on the bench was interesting. Where, bare bones. But yeah, not many.
For those that don't know in the chat or watching us on playback, Alfie Dorrington's a 2-footed baller of a centre-back. He's better on the ball than Dragus, I'll tell you that now. He's 6'3", and he's more comfortable on his right foot, but he can play both feet. Malachi Hardy's a centre-back as well. I do not know much about him because I think he's just promoted from the 18s into the under-21. I've watched a little of Callum Alusesi. He is an attacking midfielder. And at the level I watched him, he's exciting to watch. But it's too early to judge on any of these guys. You don't even know if they'll be at the club. Some will be sold on, to pay for cost and that. And Werner was ill, so he didn't make the squad, Mark. There seem to be a lot of Christmas spirit for Werner out there.
No. Well, that's neither here nor there, is it? I mean, all the rest of them, though. It's only Johnson, Bergvall, Rick. Well, I've heard of most of them. But it's like Callum Ulassi, whatever his name is.
Alusesi.
Alusesi. Well, all right. But that's what we got. I'm afraid that's about all we got on it, unless they want to bring some more of the under 18s in.
Roughly 10 out. Just when I was at the game, it was a good atmosphere. The South Stand sang the new Cooley song loudly more than once. It sold it quite a few times during the game. I mean,
are we just going to set?
If we put pressure on the ball to spending a transfer window, I'm all good for it. Makes me smile when they were singing it. I mean, I'm in the East Stand myself, so but there was quite I think it's the largest section I've heard sing a sort of anti-Levy song ever in that South Stand.
Good.
Yeah, that was
Should we just say hello to a few people?
Yeah, do that now.
Yeah, audio's in here. Good evening, sir.
Audio, big up.
Yes,
greetings to all of us at Diehards and Harry, mate. Season's greetings to you.
Graham's in here. The league leader of the
on the show, Graham. If you can give us the details, we'll get you on if you want to come on this. Yeah, big up, Graham.
The league leader of the online one and the other one. So I saw
he's
him.
leading two.
Yeah, he's something dodgy going on there. In my opinion.
We have to get forensics in on that one, Mark. And
I think so. I think so.
Okay.
Graham, John Lee, big up,
mate. Season's greetings from all of us at
Yes. Yeah, Merry Christmas and all that. And David Clark.
David, he's the
Leicester correspondent.
He's the Madison Defence League. He's in charge of the Madison Defence League. David is. Season's greetings, David. Hope you're well and all your family have a great Christmas. Hope you all have a great Christmas. Right. Okay.
Well, come on.
Well, I need your number though. So.
Well, he's in the WhatsApp group, I think.
Right. Okay. Let's start. Yeah. Let's start with the game. Alan, we're just the first 15 minutes before the goal, and then I'll go through the goals in the next bit. Spurs started brightly, didn't they?
They did. You know, we last time we played Manchester United, we beat them 3-0 at their home, and so I think Ange got things right to start with. Remember, Amarim is trying to implement something different there. So they're going through. They're starting a brand new system, a new way of playing. He's bringing in different players playing. He had a new goalie. So there's a lot of new going on at Manchester United, and I think we took advantage of that early.
Yeah. Eugene, bright start. You considered it a bright start?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw their lineup, a lot of their strongest players were on the bench, and then when I saw Eriksen playing in the double pivot, I felt like we don't have any excuse, especially in the midfield, not to cut through them, since Eriksen at this point his legs are gone. So, and we did start well, which I expected, but overall, and we'll get to it later, I'm disappointed that we couldn't take advantage of that midfield, that we didn't do more, but we can talk about it later. But in the beginning, as you said, I agree, we had a pretty good start, which I expected to continue throughout the game, which unfortunately we didn't.
To me, Mark, the bright start was because we pressed from the off.
Yeah.
And they kicked a lot of balls long, didn't they? This is
part
of the press is to get them to kick long, because you got a better chance of winning, if it's a long kick. So
it's like Alan said that
through the first half they kicked a lot of long balls.
It's like Alan said though, that they're learning a new system, and I don't think they've quite what's he been in? Month now? 3 weeks, month? And he's still working out like sort of who plays where and what his best team is and all that. But we did start really brightly. We kept the ball well. And we were pressing them all over the place. And I thought, it's looking promising. Obviously we hadn't scored by that stage.
Yeah, just my little take, a rough synopsis of the whole game quickly. I mean, this side Man United side, it's got names that are expensive, but it's not a patch on other Man United sides of the past. I mean, all I wanted to say was about the game was, if we compare them, it's only one performance I've watched them, though, apart from the one we were away there when we smashed them, right? If you sort of compare, you think I hate to say it, but Chelsea and Arsenal caused us a lot more problems than Man United did.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you did, that, and they look better teams than Man United. So I have no idea when Man United are finished, because suddenly teams can click or new systems can click, and maybe they'll fly. Who knows? But we move on to Eugene. 15 minutes, 1-0. Basuma, I think Maddison gave it to him. Porro has the shot. Bayin he parried it, and Solanke. That wasn't an easy finish off the inside of the post, though. There was a narrow gap there, but well worked goal. Well, it was a sort of a happening goal more than the well worked goal because of the.
It was a coach's goal, or I mean, he did a great job spinning off 3 defenders and reacted earlier than everybody else. Well deserved. It was great for me to see Porro shoot from the outside. I feel like we don't do enough of that. And I feel like if we do take those outside shots from outside the box, so from 20 feet, we'll score more goals. And Solanke has a good feel when he's in the box. So I feel like the more shots we take from the outside, like Porro did, the more goals we're going to score, especially against teams who might be playing low block against us. But overall, the finish wasn't particularly great, but a goal is a goal. He did the job. I was super happy for him. He does all the hard work. He runs around, he presses, links up play. So it was good to see him finish.
We'll talk about Solanke in depth lately, but a bit on him, Al, for now. I mean, he's settled in well, isn't he? He's settled in well now. The goals are starting to come because fans were getting a bit concerned about the goal rate, but
Yeah. Well, his goal was a poacher's goal. I mean, he was just onside. It was a little bit of luck because it hit the post and kind of wrapped its way around the net. The goalie didn't even try to stop it because I think he was leaning in the other direction. But it was a perfect poacher's goal. You know, he was right there, right time, right place. That is exactly what he's supposed to be there for. And if he's not going to get the service, you know, from the wing, then he's going to have to score goals like that.
Mark, Manchester's well and truly white now, isn't it? I mean, up there, beat City, beat Man United at home. I mean, if we beat Man United again, we get to keep them. The same.
Yes, allegedly.
Yeah, we get to keep Man City as well. You know.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'd just say hello to a few more people. Dan Gaze. Good evening, sir.
Evening, Dan. Season's greetings, guys.
Simply Ace. Big up, sir. Cobber's in the chat.
Yeah.
Big up, sir. Well, good morning.
Dinner on the beach, probably, because it's sunny in Australia.
Yeah. Good morning. And that's about it for now. Any more in here? Nope. That's all.
Alan, we picked up our first yellow card, first of 3 in that game, actually, in 23 minutes. No arguments with it.
If I remember what it was a necessary yellow card because I think because wouldn't they have been on the break had it not been for that yellow card?
From my memory on this, I can't remember watching it because they didn't show the yellow cards on the highlights.
Yeah. It was a bit
stadium, mind you, I am a biased Spurs fan, but being at Stade Up, it looked harsh to me. I mean, Eugene, what's your take?
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to remember exactly the situation, but
I thought there weren't that much contact, and they sort of bumped, rolled over each other or whatever. But it wasn't.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit soft.
Coming together.
Right. Yeah. I agree. It was a bit soft.
Yeah, Mark.
If
you don't
remember. No. I was going to say I can't remember what the incident was.
Yeah.
But I know the commentary. As soon as he got booked, they said he misses the first game of the semi-final.
Yeah. I think he clipped somebody from behind. I forgot who exactly, but he was trying to.
I think
fix
it
up.
was Fernandez. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Is that the one where he sort of stands on his ankle? Or kicks him in the calf or something? Was that
I
the one?
think so. I think
Yeah.
that might be it.
Yeah.
Well, my line of sight is the fifth floor, looking from virtually next on the east stand, next to the south stand, and the incidents happening. Even when we score goals down the other end, I have to sort of wait and sit and announce who they scored them. Sometimes it's clear, but if a player's number on his shirt's not facing me, it's like sometimes it can be a bit difficult. Yeah, and to me, the game, even the first half, when we kept pressing and pressing, all right, they got down into our half and all that. It didn't do. I mean, Forster didn't have a serious save to make.
Thankfully.
Good morning, Peter.
Morning,
he must
Peter.
have finished or nearly
Stevens,
finished.
greetings.
Yeah, finished or nearly finished.
What I noticed about them, it was always like they weren't playing on the deck. It's all long balls. I mean, like, so, and we get to half time. 1-0 deserved leave, Eugene?
Yeah, I mean, I was still a bit disappointed after the goal. We gave up possession, which is okay. We seem to be managing the game well. But as I said before, when I saw Eriksson in a double pivot, I thought that Bissouma and Sarr would be able to cut their midfield wide open. And for some reason, they didn't. Bissouma had a pretty good first half, but just for some reason, we gave up initiative. They had a few shots blocked, I believe, one, but Bissouma, and second one, I forgot, maybe Archie Gray. But the lead was definitely well-deserved, but I felt like maybe the players were tired. Maybe the fatigue was setting in from pressing, in the early minutes or in the early stages of the game. So I felt confident, but I felt like we didn't do as much as we could.
Alan, you agree deserved lead half time?
I'm trying to remember when it happened, but when Kulu went near post and should have probably gone far post, was that in the first half or the second half? I don't remember.
I actually thought we got into better promising situations than they did. They blasted a couple wide past the far post, but there was never nothing like, until the second half when we sort of, I don't know if we tired or, well, we'll get onto the second half later, whether we tired and they got more of the play, you know what I mean? But first half, I thought we dominated. Second half was totally different.
The only thing that worried me in the first half was
Ben. Season's greetings to you.
I was just about to say big up to Ben in the chat. Big up, sir.
If you want to come on, let Mark know.
Yeah. If you want to come on, I can send you the link. The only thing I was going to say is I did notice in the first half that all the time Porro was like disappearing, and Sarr had to like shuffle it. Sarr had to get over and deal with whoever was like coming down their left or right, and like I thought, no, he's got to sit in and not do his disappear and act up the other end of the pitch, because obviously in the first half they were shooting towards the south stand, and so the cameras in the west stand, so you could see, and every time like Man United were coming forward, you could see there was miles and miles of room down our right, their left. There was miles of room out there. I thought, where's Porro to? I thought he'd gone off injured or done an Eric Dyer or something. Honestly.
Yeah, well, either he has to use his pace to get back. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. Or like you've mentioned, you've got the right-sided midfielder and the right-sided centre-back. They should come across and cover. And from the game when I was watching, we always had 4 on the back or 3, all the time. 3 when we were more attacking. But, so they've obviously tweaked things. They have tweaked things, definitely. At half-time, we're all thinking, sort of going, feel a bit better if we get that goal. You can play really well and score a wonderful goal, and then you can throw it all away so easily like we've seen us do in the past. But this is what happened. Alan, We didn't have to wait long. People still coming back from the bar and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm looking around the ground in 46 minutes. Madamit's a low cross. Martin's fouled. Well, he sort of tried sort of backheel it. It came in just felt a Kulusevski who just picked his spot on the inside. It was still a good finish on the inside the post, like. And 2-0.
Yeah, I watched some Manchester United fan videos about their reactions after, and they lament this goal in particular because Lisandro Martinez tries to use the outside of his foot instead of using his weaker foot, which I guess is an issue for him. He tends to to shy away from using his weak foot to clear it, and instead gave it right to Kulu. And it was, again, it was great because Kulu was right there. He almost looked surprised that he got the ball because normally he wouldn't have gotten that ball. I think he was expecting it to get cleared, and it wound up right in his landed perfectly for him to put it right back in. So great goal. Kulu is someone, I think is he 6-6 now? I think he's got 6 goals in the last 6 games, I think.
Yeah. And he'll have assists as well. I haven't gone for his stats yet. I'll go for his stats because he's my favourite player. I'll get his stats on the show when fans start dogging him. Then I'll get the stats and go, well, Eugene, your take on the goal? Bit fortuitous in the way it's come to us, but
no, I agree. It was a terrible play by Martinez, who he showed that he's not a good defender. He is missing, he's short for a defender. He gets bullied, and he's not a good defender overall. So we got a lucky break. Great finish by Kulu. I still like Kulu more down the middle than on the right, but he definitely impacts the game every time he's out there. So, that was great. And actually, just going back to the first half real quick, if I may, it was interesting to see that Man U was doing what we sometimes do, bunch of possession that doesn't, get anywhere and not taking advantage of the opportunities that they had. So I was wondering if the reason why we sat back was because of the fatigue, or if it was intentional, where Ange said, hey guys, let's manage the game a little bit and sit back. I'm not sure, but it was interesting to me where after the first goal we still pressed and we still tried to play out of the back, but overall we played differently than we usually do. We sat back, which was interesting to me.
Mark, you got anything on the second goal?
No, it was just nice to see, wasn't it? I mean, it reminds me of when I was at, I think it was when we beat Bournemouth at Wembley, and I was still in the bar having a pint and we scored. I never watched the goal until I got on the train and I could get a signal to watch it on Match of the Day or something. And so I would have thought a lot of people missed it because they were still in the goal line bar or something.
You knew Man United that after the second goal they looked a bit deflated at first.
Yeah,
and to get the game together and start to come at us, but that helped us in one way because in the 54th minute, Eugene, Solanke weaved his way through the United defence and scored inside the post. This was like Harry Kane, though. I didn't think he was a striker that makes things happen, more an opportunist in the box. But this shows, when I've seen some of his dribbling recently and all the thing about it, there's a bit more to this player. He ain't just a hard worker. It's a good goal. It was a quality goal.
That was a great goal. Defending wasn't great for Man U again. They backed off of him. But it was a great finish. And I'm super happy for Solanke. He does all the hard work. He's been taking some criticism about the goals. He doesn't get enough service. But that was a great finish. I was very happy for him.
Alan, 3-0. Sit back, relax. We've got this, haven't we?
Oh, God, yeah. And I will say with this third goal, it was a service from Jed Spence, which was a perfect service. And I hope that we can. Are we going to talk about?
We'll do all the squad after we've done the game, sort of thing.
3-0. I was like, okay, there's only 30 minutes or so to go, or 20 minutes to go, and I'm like, okay, we're good. And then, yeah, I stopped watching the game for like 5 minutes because I'm like, okay, it's 3-0. There's no way. This is the same score we beat them last time. There's no way they're going to come back. And of course, being Spurs, we found a way.
Mark, was you relaxed when the third goal went in? Thought, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I thought that was it. I thought, no, come on. I thought even we can't chuck this away.
Yeah.
As Mark knows, he's in one of the WhatsApp groups. I was spamming Engine. I know Ben.
Yes, I did see this.
There are some Engine outers, and I was so happy. I'm like, okay, now finally I can relax. Engine.
Yeah.
It's good.
I know she went a bit quiet, and I know she went quiet as it sort of went on, though. All the engine stuff stopped.
Exactly. It did stop.
Any more in the chat, Mark? Before I move on?
Just Jed Spence has made look. Yes, he was good. Yeah, he's been freed at long last.
Well, no, he was out with a groin injury for a while, and then he's like the others. Everyone was moaning about why Bergvall and Gray don't get their chances and they've been given it. It's just a question of timing, isn't it? It's just been a question of time. I haven't got any issues with it because we still didn't know. I mean, I've actually seen Spence play now and actually think, we'll come talk about him later. But, okay, you are a player because I've actually seen him defend yesterday. So, we'll talk about the players later. So, And then, we're on the 3-0. So, bit of game management at 3-0, which didn't go to plan at all.
Well, my goodness.
And they've come into the game. And like Eugene said and all that, even in the first half, if we'd really pressed their midfield pivot, I think we could have beaten them about 5-0. I just don't think they're that good, right? And so, but this happened, Alan, on the 63rd minute. Berkey slides the ball home from a forced error, trying to play it from the back, right?
Yep.
I mean, we've made some shocking defensive errors this season, all in our own box. Funny enough, usually when we've had loads of players there.
It was. Go ahead. It was a disaster. The only positive I take away from it was that, from what I read, Archie Gray went up to Forster and tried to take the blame for it because it was Archie Gray's pass back to Fraser Forster.
That was the second goal.
It was the second goal.
That was the second goal.
Was that the second goal? I thought that was the first goal.
Oh, yeah.
No,
I'll come to the second.
Right. That's right. The Xerxes one. You're right.
That's when was the first one where he passed it straight to Fernandez.
Yeah, and then Fernandez put the ball across and
Yeah.
It was an easy finish, to be honest. It was so easy,
Yeah. It's Fraser Forster had a real shocker. That just. We all knew he could have done, because I call him Fraser Frankenstein, because he kind of moves like Frankenstein, the way he kind of lumbers. He does. I don't even think his leg bends when he kicks. He's very robotic, and when I was told, you can't pass back to Fraser Forster, I remember with the first game that we played with him in the goal again, they were doing everything they could, the defense, to limit sending the ball back to him. And they were putting in quite the display at the time. And now I know why, because the man has this in him to really screw it up. He's just not quick enough. And he made a good stop, but here, it was just terrible. And it gave Manchester United that much needed second wind to kind of get back into the game.
Yeah. And it shook us, that goal, Eugene, didn't it? We got a bit flaky. Well, not so much flaky. We got a bit jittery. We sort of lost a bit of composure, basically, to put it that way, yeah?
Yes, I mean,
fall apart, but we lost composure.
That's my biggest takeaway from the game, and why ultimately I feel worse about us after the game than before the game. But firstly, on that goal specifically, there there are a lot of debates whether it's Ange's tactics to blame for this mistake, or is it just individual error by Forster. I'm torn on this. I mean, if you're a professional keeper, you should be able to make a 5-yard pass. That's not too much to ask for. On the other hand, we were being pressed all game, and with Gray and Dragusin and Forster, we've had issues with the press for a while now, multiple games. So was it the time where Ange should have said, "Hey, just kick the ball
Coming
long,
downstairs.
and that's it"? Maybe he should have done it. But ultimately, a professional keeper should be able to make that pass. And to your point, Adrian, the reason why I feel worse about, after this game than before is that once again, when things go wrong, we fold. I mean, again, I hate the word Spursy, but that's exactly what it is. And in the chat, everybody said, one mistake, now watch what's going to happen. And what happened afterwards was not a surprise. We don't have the leadership on the pitch. Sonny, he should be the one say, "Hey guys, let's go. Maybe, keep your heads up, change some things around." But our heads dropped as they always do, which led to the second mistake, and then just led to how the rest of the game played out. And, we keep seeing it time and time again. When the going gets tough, when we make a single mistake, we just unravel. And that's why I feel like, if we want to go through, Liverpool and play in the final, or Europa or FA Cup, I don't think we're going to get deep in those competitions if our mentality is as weak as it is. Again, no leadership on the pitch. Son was nowhere to be found. Madison was nowhere to be found as an assistant captain. Ange didn't really say much on the touchline, so I felt like we do what we do, and that was very disappointing to see.
How did you see that goal, Mark? The first one?
Well, it was obviously a mistake by Forster. I mean, he passed it.
It was such a short pass.
It was. It would have been to
coming out with collective responsibility.
I think Porro was running away from him, wasn't he? Porro was trying to get out wide, and he went to pass to him, and it went straight to Fernandez. Squared it, and they scored. I mean, when they scored that, I thought, well, there's only one. Yeah. Now let's just sit in for like 5 minutes, calm it down. Just calm it down, take the sting out of the game, because the Man United fans, obviously cheering, and they were up for it by then. I thought, right, just sit in now for 10 minutes, but no. That
was on 63 minutes.
Yeah.
And then on 70, Alan, this happened.
Oh,
3-2, Diallo scores, Gray passes to Forster. And look, it wasn't Gray's fault. That was a long pass back to Forster. He had plenty of time to get rid of the ball, right? Forster divers as Diallo presses him, and then when he kicks it, it sort of ricocheted off Diallo into the goal.
Diallo did fantastic. Amad Diallo is most likely the future of Manchester United. He's a fantastic player.
He had a football brain. His football IQ he's come across and threw his body across Forster, and it paid off. Bang!
It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion, because you could see Diallo running, and I was like, "Oh God, he's running towards Forster. Forster needs to clear it away. Why isn't he clearing it away? It away? Oh God, the ball's in the back of the net."
It was almost slow motion.
It really was. He moves in slow motion, and I think that's the problem. And it's interesting because a reporter asked Ange about that. About playing out the back from the back with Forster in goal. He asked him about do we need to stop playing out from the back? And Ange said no. because he doesn't want to. He thinks that's going to give a multitude of other problems to do that. He doesn't want to protect a specific player. He just wants to play attacking football in both offense and defense. And to him, that starts by playing out the back. So Ange has addressed that and doesn't seem to see it as a problem. He thinks, I think in his interview, he said that it seemed more like Fraser got thrown by the first goal and allowed that to get to him for the second goal.
Yeah.
And it's just more of a mentality issue, I guess. But it was an avoidable, both goals. But those two goals were avoidable goals. I don't even view, they were avoidable goals. They really are. And it's a Spursy thing, unfortunately, very Spursy to allow Manchester United back in 3-2 at that point.
Even into the Queen, by the way. Big up, Ellie.
Ellie, I hope you're feeling much better.
Yeah, I hope you're feeling well, love.
Enjoy your Christmas with your family and friends. Eugene, your take on that?
Yeah, every other keeper in the league, we've seen it many, many times. Fake the kick and just sidestep the player and play an easy pass to the other side. We've seen it countless times. You don't have to be, Allison or Ederson to do it. We've seen all the keepers do it. So this was just a shocking mistake. It's not on Archie Gray either. It wasn't a perfect pass, but this should not have been a goal. That was definitely an individual error by Forster.
Mark, you watching on the telly? What was your reaction?
Well, by this stage, I had to get the defib out. It was clear. No, but after the first one, I thought, why are we still doing this? Just hoof the thing anyway. Doesn't matter if it goes out for throwing, but no. Well, to be honest, at 3-1, I was thinking, right, let's bring some subs on now. Not that we have many. I was thinking, right, now's the time to make subs. Shore the game up. Stop all this, inverting wing backs and all that rubbish, and just sit in for 10, 15 minutes, and see the game out. But no. It's never that easy, and we keep doing it, and we got punished again. And I thought, if we throw this away, I'm literally done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not against playing out for the back. The only good thing by Foster is the fact that we won the game. If you're going to make mistakes, at least do it when you win the game. I get why we play it out the back, because it's all part of the press. Otherwise, if you hoof it, it's percentage football. And actually, when you do lose the ball, clubs concede a goal from playing out from the back. It's only 1 or 2 a season or something, and then they don't always lose that game. So I'm not against it, but what I would say is I'd like to see us do it quicker. If we're playing out for the back, move the ball quickly when you do it. And instead of giving it to a defender who's in an awful position, that's when you hump it. That's when you hump the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've seen times when it's then gone out to a throw to the opposition or whatever, or sometimes we've turned around and we couldn't progress with the ball because we're trying to play out. When it's flowed, like away at Man City and Man United, when their passing's on point, it looks fantastic when you play through other teams. It does. It looks really good. And we scored some wonderful goals this season. But the thing is, we spoil it all by giving away sloppy schoolboy goals. That's the thing.
We just can't deal with the press. We've seen it multiple times, multiple games. If the team is pressing us, especially with Dragoshin on the pitch and Forster, we can't break press. It costs us every single game. So Ange has to adapt until Vicario is back. Even with Vicario, when he played, we struggled against teams that press us. So I feel like it's going to cost us,
He's more agile, though. He's not going to get pressed down like Forster is when he's back, which will probably be after February.
And one thing about missing Romero, even though he struggles on the defensive end this year, but when he gets pressed, he's really good about finding the right pass. So missing Romero is big for us.
Well, and he's our quarterback as well, progresses the ball. Our other centre-backs do not do that. Not one of them progresses the ball. They don't do it. We'll come on to the players later. Remember anything about the Maddison yellow card, Alan?
The Madison yellow card. What did he? I don't even remember what he did. It was it was an exciting game, regardless of the fact that it was a cheat, it was a puckering, cheek clenching game. I don't remember what happened. What did he do?
Did he pull someone back? It was like 5 seconds before he was substituted.
A gentle tug. It wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, it was about because his number was up to come off, and just before when the ref blew for the free kick, they held his number up and he went off. See, it was another one of those needless ones that he always gets.
I do know that Madison and Sarr both, I think, missed the next game, right?
Yeah. Well, the first game of the semi-final.
Yeah. The first game of the semi-final, yeah.
There's on that point for listeners. There's a League Cup rule, Carabao Cup rule, which is a bit ridiculous when you compare it to the league. If you get 2 yellow cards in a competition, you get a ban. You're banned from the next game. Yeah. So those 2 will be out. Mind you, Bergvall looks like he's okay now. Gray might end up in midfield when a centre back, and Bentancur will be back shortly. So the walking wounded are coming back over the Christmas period. And as Mark rightly alluded to, Eugene, 79 minutes substitute, good game management. Bergvall and Alpha Madison on the yellow.
Yeah, I mean,
and they were pressing us like mad, weren't we? We needed someone in there could do a bit of a 6-8 as well,
Right. And like we said before, we didn't have many options on the bench, so that's the only thing that Ange could have done. The only 2 senior players were Bergvall and Johnson on the bench, so this made sense to me.
Alan, was you happy to see Madison go off?
I think he could have come off earlier. I think he could have made some of his changes.
Because he wasn't having a lot of impact. Like, all right, he's played a couple of games in concern. I don't want to upset David Clark. David, if you're there for Christmas, mate. And go on, Al.
No, just I think he could have made some subs earlier. He kind of did them kind of late, whereas Amorim he made those 3 impact changes, and they really impacted the game. And I think that's where he outclassed Ange, I think, was in the subs. Ange could have done things earlier, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, there were people around me, Eugene, screaming for Sarr to come off because he had his yellow card, but we'll talk about him later because he gave a mature performance on a yellow. But I mean, to
be fair, Amorim had a lot of options on the bench. His strongest players he left on the bench, so he brought them on when we were fatigued, and they made an impact. For us, like I said, we only had Bergvall and Johnson, and I agree, Madison could have come out sooner, but we didn't really have many options at that point.
Well, we had Bergvall. He could have put Bergvall on earlier, I think.
Yeah.
I
mean, the subs, if I can bring the subs back up, I mean, Werner was ill for you in the chat. Why he didn't make the squad? In case you think he's been sold.
Ill.
You don't need 2. Obviously, if Mason King didn't make the squad this time, as obviously needed back for the under-21s. He is actually a left back though. Malachi Hardy is a centre back. Callum Alusasi is an attacking midfielder. Alfie Dorotton, is a 2-footed, 6'3" centre back. The kids, their centre backs are big. Phillips is 6'4", and Vaskovits, can't remember how tall he is when it comes in. So there wasn't a lot of options on the bench, to be fair. But we know Bentancur's back for the game after Liverpool, so that's a plus. Straight away, a good plus. I mean, I really like that player, but that's just my opinion of a player. Just a big up to everyone in the chat. There was about 30 of 25, probably having a few drinks on a Friday night. Don't blame me at all. It's Christmas as well.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not jealous or nothing. I'm not jealous.
You can give the videos a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow, obviously, and it means we can bring you even better content than we do. And we will. I mean, our shows do go out every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 o'clock UK time GMT. And we will still be going out this Tuesday, which is Christmas Eve, by the way. And we'll be doing a show. It'll still be a football show. Me and Mark might have a few drinks on that show, though, won't you? Right?
I definitely will.
All right. Okay. So if we lose the plot, you'll know why. But the Tuesday shows also we're doing it because like there are people out there that are on their own at Christmas, and like it's no hardship for us to put a show out on Christmas Eve and Tuesday. So we might struggle to get sober guests on, but I mean, like,
that'll be all right.
We'll see what guests
that's all part of fun. That's all part of fun if we got a few on board.
Anywhere, who knows?
Yeah.
But we'll see. We haven't quite decided on it yet. So we'll move on to where were we? Let's get down the banners here.
Hey, Adrian, can I address the comment real quick?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so there was a comment with Simply Ace about kind of, Ange not adapting and not managing
this one?
the game.
No.
Yeah. So,
was it?
And yeah, that's kind of an open question for you guys too. So usually we get the criticism that we have all this possession that doesn't go anywhere, and we get hit on the counter since we're wide open. In this game, I felt like it was the opposite. We gave up possession. Our issue was that we could not control the ball and keep possession. We played almost like low block with defenders other than Dragoshin that cannot defend, because Archie Gray is not really a defender.
Yeah.
And so that was the issue.
Yeah.
So and the midfield was our biggest issue. They could not hold on to the ball. We couldn't hold possession. So I don't think it was Ange not adapting or the game management was poor. It was we were doing the opposite of what we usually do.
Right? Yeah, tiredness, Eugene, as well. Tiredness, and also it's people have pops at Romero. I mean, I think he's a phenomenon. I think he's a fantastic centre back. He's got everything to his game: the passing, the heading, the tackling, the holding on to the ball. And he gets us up the field. But this is where don't be too critical because we won the game 4-3. But Dragons at passing is exposed. I mean, if he's giving the ball away, I mean, Gray, no problem at all. Porro, all right, he can have days when his passing's off. But, Spence and even your doggy, we know on point they can pass the ball. Dragonson's, when he's been rushed and his passes go astray, looks a bit suspect. But we'll talk about players later. So we're all needing to get out of jail card, Alan. And in the 88th minute, this man scores from a corner, and Man United moan like F that mate he's running and touched his glove or something to stop him getting his hand to the ball. So it was a load of rubbish, wasn't it? I mean, mate, it was
totally. Look, the goalie made a mistake because the goalie went to punch the ball and he missed, and the ball curved in. Bergvall happened to lean against his left arm and sort of kind of like brushed it. But the left arm, it wasn't like he went in with both arms to go catch the ball and he got bumped or someone pulled his arm down. He went to punch the ball. So the fact that Bergvall even touched his left side played no part. He whiffed. He totally missed. And what a kick. What a kick from Son. Did it redeem Son for the rest of the game? Because I felt like Son did not so well the entire game, but for that kick, he was, whether he was on the pitch or not, you could have had Brennan Johnson over there. I don't know that it made much of a difference. The only thing is Son kind of tracked back a bit more. He and Jed Spence linked up very well, I thought. And I thought Son did pretty well tracking back to help out.
Oh, I didn't think he was that bad. I didn't think he was that bad. I mean, it's like when players are doing work off the ball and keeping this is what a lot of fans miss, and I miss it as well. I mean, I can't see everything at a game, But sometimes you'll have someone up front who draw a defender away to make space for a striker to score, or draw people wide to have something. I mean, with him and Maddison in that first goal, I think.
Can I just jump in, Adrian?
Go on.
There's 3 of us on Christmas Eve now. Then, Nige,
Yes,
in the
Nigel,
comments.
come on, mate. We'll get you on.
Of course you can. Yeah.
On Christmas Eve.
Bring beers.
Yeah, bring the beer. No drugs, mate. We don't do drugs.
No.
Only medications we do when we get them on edge. Yeah.
Plenty of meds, Adrian.
Yeah, plenty of meds, yeah. So Son scored from the corner, Eugene. The last time I seen a Spurs player score from a corner, I swear it was Jimmy Greaves. That's how old I am, right? I mean,
I haven't seen somebody score from a corner in forever. I don't even recall the last time I've seen it, but it was definitely a mistake by their keeper. Thankfully, no VAR, because if it would have been disallowed, I'd go mental, because teams do the same thing to Vicario again.
yeah.
And the foul was never called. So
it's not. I mean, you can't say it's a piece of skill because you're just banging the ball in the corner. I mean, in the old days, you hit a near post corner, a centre of the penalty area corner, or you hit one to the far post, right? I mean, and your players should know by the signal whether you're going near, middle, or far. You should give them the signal, right? So yeah. But no, but
it was a lucky goal. But
deliberately aim for the far post, hoping. Have you noticed a lot of Premier League teams now? They put a crowd of players on the far post to run in. Very hard to mark them when you do like that.
Arsenal does that.
And they get they've got a few goals from Saliba's banged a few, and I think, annoying dick. Right. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lucky goal, because I feel like if we wouldn't have scored that goal, we'd definitely go to penalties. Because you can tell, like, I could feel that another goal was coming from Man U, because we did what we usually do.
Yeah.
Completely. All the heads were down. I'm not going to say kind of they've given up, but the same Spursiness as we've seen against Chelsea and Brighton, kind of same thing was happening. So that goal was definitely needed.
I get why.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on. You can carry on.
I don't know.
This is partly why he made the Johnson Solanke's. One, because Solanke's played every game, been working his socks off. Give him a rest. I mean, if you can't see out a game from here in 90 minutes, when are you going to do? And also, because we're under pressure, if you can get a ball out of Johnson, at least we can stretch him and get down the other end of the pitch. You know what I mean? But yeah. So we're thinking forward to that's it. Done. It's all done. Sit back and relax again. It's all done, right? We're through, like. And then so I think he did that for that. And then a minute later again, probably to take the pace out of the game. These are also tactical substitutions in my book.
Too late, in my opinion.
It's at 91. Well, similar, but I think this is like, if your team's looking tired, and we know Reguilon can gallop down the wing as well. I don't think he's got any future at the club, but not when everyone's fit. He'll be going. He can sign a new contract for someone in January in the last year. So, Alan, you think the last two they were tactical substitutions as well?
I mean, Solanke had already played 90 minutes. I personally, I probably would not have taken him out. We've seen what happens when Solanke doesn't play. His work rate, if not even considering the goals that he scored, but his work rate is so important to our team that taking him out, you recognize just how much we need him. So I thought if he was going to take anyone out, I wouldn't have taken Solanke out. You could take Spence. You could take Spence out, I guess. I mean, Spence had a great game. So did Solanke. But Spence had a great game. Replacing him with Reguilon, I don't know why we did that. Again, Spence has been sidelined for so long. It's not like he needed the rest. I thought he could have continued. He was one of the players that I think did very well from start to finish. There were other. I don't know why. I don't know what was going through Ange's head or why he chose to make those subs, especially 90 minutes. What was the point?
I think time wasting.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
And to interrupt the game. You know, it's when a few of our players went down and laid on the deck a bit. You know what I mean? I don't
Oh,
agree
yeah,
with that,
Bergvall did it.
but I mean, there is some 30-second rule. Then you have to go off for 30 seconds. Well, I think they should extend that a bit, and then players will get up if they're faking it. If it was a minute or 2 minutes you're off, you know, you're going to think twice by laying down there. Oh, I just got a numbing ache where I've been kicked or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
We need some more dark cards on our team.
Yeah. Right. So that was the 91st. Then Eugene, what went wrong? And this goal. I mean, he's jumped up for it. I think it was it's a good goal. And one way I thought was a bit lucky because it glanced off the side of his head. It wasn't a clean header off of Evans. It come off the side, but he got up to get to the ball, and the ball just plonked on him, right? And suddenly after the stadium screaming for the ref to blow the whistle.
To be honest, I missed this goal live because my stream was behind, and I was just chatting in the WhatsApp group. I couldn't watch. I was so nervous, and everybody was like a minute or two ahead of me, so I couldn't watch the game. I was just watching what people were saying. So I caught the goal on replay because at that point I was a nervous wreck. I couldn't do it. But you know, that was a good goal, good set piece goal. Thankfully, the game was almost over. I feel like if there would be 10 minutes left, I feel like they definitely could have gotten at least one more. Just
Alan, how was you feeling at 4-3?
So it was, yeah.
You know, I was so nervous that allowed them to. Honestly, I thought they were going to come back 4-4. I thought it was going to be one because it was already there were already 6 goals in that game in that half, and I was like, oh God, they scored. They're going to come back. We're going to go to penalty shots. This is going to be like Fulham all over again, where we're going to wind up losing in penalties. But it was probably the only goal they deserved, if anything. You know, I predicted a 3-1 win, and I was so close to it, but
I was miles out as usual.
Yeah.
I was miles out as usual.
Yeah, it went pear-shaped. But I mean, Johnny Evans came in for an injured Lindelof, who I thought it was to our advantage because Johnny Evans was he like 36? He's like Fraser Forster's age. He's still just kind of around. Lindelof had a good game, so when he went off, I didn't want him injured, but when he went off, I was happy. And I thought that was going to be strategically to our advantage, but no, he put it in. I thought the Suma made a own goal initially, but I guess they attributed it to Johnny Evans.
They thought it come off of Basuma first.
I felt like too. I thought the same thing.
Yeah, but yeah. But the funny thing, they had that period when they went 4-2, they went 4-3, and I think they were trying too hard. They had the freshest substitutes and the quality substitutes.
Yeah, I think we just ran out of gas. It was gas. We were tired.
We did. I like the way we got stuck in. I thought we were even then after that. They had that period, and then it's not like then. We got a little more of a sort of a slight grip back into the game again, and we were getting stuck in. We were still chasing everything down, even though we had tired legs. And then Bergvall he got a yellow card. He got a yellow card. I'm not sure when in the 90 plus 8 minutes. So he took one, and which is fine. And we all kept shouting like. I kept shouting. There's no way Forster can hear me. I was just shouting every time Forster got the ball in the last 8 minutes. I'm going like, take the fucking yellow card for time wasting. Just take the yellow card. And the guy's next to me's laughing his fucking head off, and he's going, yeah. And I'm going like, just take the yellow card, right? But he didn't. But he did diver over someone. And Brooks, the referee, who I thought was, Yeah, it was all right. I thought they could have got a couple of more yellow cards though, Man United, for
For sure.
For the first half and all that. I thought, how's he got away with that? And then you get angry when someone like, and this is before Sarr was even booked. You know what I mean? In the 23rd minute, I thought they got away with it. I thought, right. So let's go on to this guy. His game management. We get through some individual performances as well. Game management, Eugene. Subs, etc. Team selection.
As we talked about before, he didn't have many options. Like one thing he could have done is to bring in Bergvall for Madison earlier. And then Reguilon, he hasn't played for us, so I feel like it was more of a time-wasting move. But not many options. And then, again, I'm wondering the way we played, how we gave up possession for large portions of the game. And I'm wondering, was it his instructions or was it just the players, doing it? I'm not sure.
If I'm doing a critique on a team and that, if you're tired, there are some easy balls you can make, even if you're tired. When you've got to run and chase players down, it's different. You've got to get back, close out the wide spaces, which is where most teams attack now anyway. But, Mark, Ange, games management?
What management? There is none. It's just, to be honest, I had to suffer his after-match thoughts as well. And I normally turn them off because he just talks nonsense, right? Now, all his substitutes and anything he does in the game is always reactive. It's never proactive. When Man United, because they controlled a lot of that second half, Man United, he didn't change nothing whatsoever, right? And the only time he reacts and brings substitutes on is normally the 75th minute, 80th minute, when like the team's all over us and they've scored 1 or 2 goals, as in this game, right? To me, he's got no. I don't even know why that banner was up there, Adrian, because he's got no game management whatsoever. It's a wing and a prayer with him, I think.
But so I have a question for you, though. Just Mark, but again, like as we talked about, we were pinned back. So at that point, I feel like there's only so much a manager can do, right? Because obviously we were being pressed and pinned back. So at that point, it's on the players to take control of the situations on the pitch. And that's where it goes back to the lack of leadership and our midfield not doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's not like we were attacking them and then we got hit on the counter where you can say, you know what, like Ange made a mistake and we played this free-flowing football. We were pinned back in our own half. So I don't think that's Ange ball or that's the way Ange wants to play. That's just
I was waiting for the substitutes at 3-1. I'd have been right. You and you on you go. Let's shore it up now. Not just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
I would have made changes at 3-1, but no.
But Bergvall is not a difference maker, right? Bergvall for Madison, it's not like we'll bring in a defensive midfielder or a defender to shore up the defense or midfield. Bergvall is an 8, so I don't know how much different.
Well, but he sort of sat there, and he was like 6
against Southampton.
Yeah,
right? He was more a hybrid 6-8 to me. But then you could call a central midfielder or a holding midfielder instead in the old terms. Yes. Now, people are too specific in what they mean by a 6, 8, and 10, and fans' perceptions are different. If you ask them what a 10 is, what an 8 is, what a 6 is, you'll get variable answers. Like Alan, Anne's game management.
Well, I don't want to parrot because I agree with everything everybody has said so far. Regarding his initial choices. I mean, almost no options, so I don't know how much I can credit him for that. What I would, my criticism, or how did Ange say it's not criticism? It's what did he say about Timo? Not criticism. It's something else.
An assessment.
An assessment. My assessment.
That's backtracking. That was backtracking. That was
Yeah, my assessment. And it's my personal preference at 3-0. he with the diminished squad like we have, we could have shored up our defense and sat back a bit instead of playing this all-out attack again and just, you know what I mean? I would have rathered that, because then it's like, okay, maybe they do come in and score a goal, but not 3 goals. And it also probably would have taken some of the pressure off of Fraser Forster, so he wouldn't have to play out of the back from the back so much. So that's an assessment that I don't necessarily agree with Ange on. And I think that his subs could have been, he could have subbed earlier.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see Alfie Dorrington get a chance to play. This seems like when we were 3-0, that would have been a good time maybe to see Alfie Dorrington.
It is. I mean, it's got, that wouldn't have been the right time to throw the kid in. I mean, like, all right, if he comes on, it's good, that's fine. But if he don't, and then the game went wonky, what's he doing bringing Alfie Dorrington on? I mean, I think Bergval's a good choice because he can defend, and he's a better defender than Madison. Defensively, he's better, he's stronger. He can tackle and stick his foot in. I mean, Madison was his best. He wasn't awful. I mean, he won the game. Come on. I mean, he wasn't awful. He's doing something, even if he's keeping someone else occupied, you know? So
all I've got to say, Adrian, right, is after the game had finished, who was in the studio? Was it Jamie Carragher? There was Jamie Carragher and someone else. And they literally ripped Ange to bits. Like, about his style of play.
Well, that is also habit forming as well, because all I've heard, clips on the radio I've listened to today, is like, it's about Ange interview about his philosophy. About the fact we conceded 2 goals. I haven't heard anyone give us credit for the win. I mean, that's pretty disgusting. You can critique us, I don't mind, but let's have a balanced critique.
No,
we won the game. Let's have some credit for winning. Blend it with that. That's fine. That's what I try to do.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do on these shows. You know that. I mean, you can come on. I don't care which way you lean as a Spurs fan. Come on, have your say. As long as you're mature and sensible, and you know you can know how to behave properly, you'll always be welcome back. You know. But did you hear any praise for Spurs' win? Any of you today? Seriously?
Yes. Yeah. It was on the show last night, Adrian. It was on the Sky Sports show before they did the semi-final draw, and Ange did his post-match interview, and what was his bloody words? He said something like, "The entertaining." He was on.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, no, it was basically that. It was basically that, but they were saying to him at 3-0 up, like, could you did you think you were going to sit in? And he said, what would you rather us do, have a game like that or us a boring 1-0 win? And I was like, for goodness sake, man, like all the Spurs fans, like we're all going to have heart attacks. You know what I mean?
All right, on to that then. Let's go on further, right? So, Eugene?
Yeah, so I was about to say, like, maybe I have to rewatch the game, but I did think we sat back, and I feel like we sat back too much given the defense. I feel like you cannot play low block with Dragoshin as the only good defender. So, and I feel like if our strongest unit was supposed to be the midfield and the forward, so I feel like we sat back too much, and that's why we got into trouble. But
if you're playing a low block, especially, I agree. If you're playing a low block, like under, say, Connor, you need defenders that have got that IQ. They've got that positional awareness, positional play that can spot danger, spot the runner who's going to slip in down the side. And I tell you what, I can question, and I'd get pelters of this because I know how popular VDV is, and Dragoson's getting more popular, but both of them are suspect of that. They're both suspect.
Especially is not a
both
defender.
of them are not the greatest passers either. Dragoson's not. He's not. He looks clunky on the ball. Like he's not. You know, our fullbacks are better passers than they are, right? So, different thing, right? Alan, we drew in the Europa League. We've won the last 2 games we played. We won at Southampton, won this. It was building, the toxicity was building up, but like there was none at the stadium. They were singing Ange's name even before even in the first half, like, you know. So,
I could hear it. You could hear it on the television. They were singing the I'm loving Big Ange instead from the stands. You could hear it. So look, I never thought that Ange would get sacked mid-season. I always thought he would get at least the season to do something. And I don't like it when the managers get sacked mid-season. I think it's jolting to everything, to the club, to the players, everybody. And ever since we sacked Jose, I thought that it was detrimental for the rest of the season. So I don't agree with sacking the mid-season. Again, there's going to be peaks and troughs throughout the season. There just is for everybody. Man City isn't even immune to that now. So it's I hope he gets the whole season. I don't know why people would say he'd get sacked mid-season. They may not want to see him after this season, but at least give him the season.
Well, Eugene, do you think Ange has secured his tenure, especially with the fact that now the 3 cups we're in are all going to January anyway, when the transfer window starts on the 1st of January. So,
I mean, I've been.
What do you think would have to go? Let me rephrase it. What do you think would have to go wrong for him to get the sack? I mean, I don't see it happening myself, and I like Ange Ball, believe it or not. I want to see it improved. I want to see.
My goodness, you must have a strong heart, Adrian. You must do.
Listen, after watching now, there have been many managers at this club and many footballers that I haven't liked, but while they're there, I'll always support them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't boo Davinson Sanchez, right? I won't sing the new Kulu song either, because I don't sing the Sol Campbell song. I don't sing the Arsenal on a String song. I don't sing Get Up If You Hate Arsenal. Get Up If You Hate West Ham. Get Up If You Chelsea. That is not in my Spurs core. It's just not there. It goes against my brain, my Spurs core. I won't do it. But there's been plenty of managers I didn't want. I didn't want Terry Neal over Danny Blanchflower. I didn't want George Graham. I didn't want Conte or Mourinho, because I knew they weren't Spurs doing that. I just want managers, even if it's a different style to Ange. But the Spurs DNA has always been fast, attractive, attacking football. Now, whether it's more defensively minded as well, that's another thing. But that's what I want. I do not want what I class as negative managers, right? And like with players, I mean, we can all name players we loved, and ones we didn't want at the club or considered. Back in the day, people would say, when Spurs went a player, this is going back some decades, he's a Spurs player, he should play for Tottenham. He's a Spurs player, But that's why. I mean, and I'm all in. I'm all in with Ange. I'm fully in with Ange. I'm fully in with Ange Ball. Now, if Ange Ball really falls apart by the end of the season, then I said I would judge Ange at the end of the season. And some of these players as well, because some of them might not be staying, right? I mean, we'll get on to the individual performances, but now, right. But, right, okay.
No, spot on, Adrian. I agree with you. Like, I give, I said that from the beginning, every manager, I give 2 seasons at least to show what he can do.
Well, not. Just sorry to interject, but not if it's someone like Nuno who wins 3 games and gets the dreaded manager of the month, and then you realise he is hopeless, or he was hopeless at Spurs. He's doing all right now at Forest, but that weren't good enough at the time. He got the sack for what happened at that time, not for what he's doing now, right? So,
right. And Nuno, we knew what Nuno was all about. With Ange, there seems, still he's an unknown. It could go wrong, or we can win a cup, maybe. So while, for first time in a very long time, we're alive in all competitions, he deserves to stay, because otherwise it's not like there are any other managers that we'll bring in right now.
Well, word leaked from the club is the fact that Boulder behind him, they're supporting this youth policy. I think the reason they're supporting it is because they didn't have hundreds of millions to go out and spend on other players. Personally, I've said it, I would have liked a bit more experience in this team. We only brought in 1 player in Solanke. The other 3 kids, Odegaard, Bergvall, Gray, they're like 100 million or whatever it is, I mean, like, and the stadium has been, I know Mark says it hasn't been a game changer. I get where Mark's coming from on his angle because we haven't had success. But we spent over £1 billion on players since we've been in this new stadium. We wouldn't have had that money at the old stadium. So it's changed a lot financially, but it hasn't brought us any success. You know,
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Before we move on, I'm going to have my say on Ange. Right now, I know I'm always in here every week. Ange this, Ange that. I'm not Ange out whatsoever. I just want him to adapt. I just want him to adapt and read things earlier. Like when Man United did have most of the ball in the second half. Like when it was 3-1, then make the subs. Not wait till it's 3-2 and we're like virtually crapping our pants. You know? Things like that. Things like that.
Mark,
adjust the system. No. Adjust the system. Like not all this. Because there was one incident. Now, what half was it in? I believe it was in the first half. I've never seen it in another football match in my life. Man United had a free kick in their about halfway between the edge of their 18-yard box and halfway line. Their keeper took it. All our defenders were stood on the halfway line, right? And so both sets of players were sandwiched in about a 30-yard space. I've never seen that before, ever, in a game. Because if we'd have dropped into our own half, like the Man United players would have been offside. You know what I mean? And so our defensive line was right across halfway line. And that was it, right? And so there was 20 players stood in, say, 30, 40 yards. I've never seen that before in my life.
That's a tactic off the training ground, though, because if
I've never seen it
over
before.
the halfway line, they're offside, but you've got a lot of space, and all them players tight together to get a ball. If your goalkeeper's now kicking the ball, he's got no idea if it's going to go to one of his or one of ours, because, like you say, they were condensed. And you players should be alert then, in case this goes over the top. I'm ready to, get my legs going for this one,
Yeah, this comment from Nige. This comment from Nige sums up how I feel. I'm not fully in with it. I'm not fully in with it at all. I need a lot of convincing. He needs to adapt in games. He needs to learn to adapt in games. Read the situation, and instead of all this nonsense that goes on normally.
Yeah, but people have different perceptions, right, of whether Ange is adapted. I've seen what I think is adapted. People say that's substitutions, this, that. They make their reasoning behind it, saying he doesn't adapt. But to me, he has adapted, and you can't conflate adapting with the system, because he's not going to change his system. You've seen it from his press conference; he's not changing. So what does he do? Right? So then, as a manager, he said earlier press conference, I pick a team to win a game. Now, it might work, it might not. If your players, stick to the game plan, that particular game plan under that system, that's it. When you're talking about adapting to me is when it's tactical switches. It's tactical switches. But what most people are saying he doesn't adapt is because deep down, what you're getting in other podcasts that I've sat and listened to is like they want him to change his system. Well, he's not going to change his system, right?
And look, ultimately,
and to me, he has adapted. Because like when you look at the first game away at Leicester, Sonny on the left, Solanke in the middle, Johnson on the right. Then Solanke gets injured, so he plays Sonny through the middle. Well, that's a change. It's tactical, but he's adapted to the circumstances. To me, right? The next game, Basuma came back in, right, for someone else because he wanted to do the job as the number 6 players. The number 6. That's sort of adapting. We've seen it instead of 2 on the back halfway line. We've seen 3 and 4. Even yesterday's game, we never had 2. I always look for this, right? I always look for this in case it, reverts back. So I've seen him in lots of games. I've seen the tactical switches and adapting. I've criticised his substitutions being too late. I think nearly half the first Spurs fan base have done that, and things like that. And I've criticised his team selections, as we've all done as well. But to me, I mean, it's perceptions. If you don't think he's adapted, that's fair enough. I think he has. You know what I mean? So that's just me. And I won't browbeat people with my opinions. I'll just express mine and leave it there. So
look, I think Adrian, it's ultimately on the board. When they brought in Conte, they knew the way Conte plays, and Conte is not gonna change his system. And we had the world class, offense. We had Kane and Prime Son, but our defense was what Dyer and Sanchez. When Conte asked for Bastoni, he didn't get him right. He got a Longley. So board knew who they were hiring, so they were supposed to back him. Same thing with Ange. The board knew the way Ange plays. The board knows who he is. So there is no point of hiring him knowing who he is and not backing him and sticking with him for at least a couple of years. If you look at our starting 11, half the players were brought in for Conte. Poirot, Udogi, they were not for Ange. They were for Conte.
Well, they're wing backs.
What's that?
They're both wing backs.
Right, but they don't really fit. Whether they fit Ange's system is different. I'm not sure they do.
Probably not.
Exactly. No. Right. We have Son. We have Bissouma, Sarr.
All right. Let's leave that conversation for another time because we're a bit off track and I want to get through the individual performances. Alan Forster, great save from the header with his hand. That was a great save. I mean, we'll go
absolutely
right, but like that harem scarum save with his legs. I'm in the East End looking at that and think, what the, what was that?
What was he doing? Is that the one where he kicked the ball away?
Yeah.
What was that about? Even the
they'd been held to play that.
Oh my God. Even the commentators on the game one I was watching, they said the same thing. They're like, that is the strangest thing I've ever seen. Why is he doing that? Look, I think by then he was shook. He was in his head. He was scared to make a mistake. He made a mistake, and then he made another mistake, and then I think at that point he was just. That's something he could have done because he had Ange had two goalies on the bench, right? He had Whiteman and he had Brandon Austin. He could have put someone else in. If you think that if Forrester's in his head, maybe swap him out, give him a chance. Don't let him hang himself out there. Maybe make a change, and that maybe be the only time I would have said Ange really got it wrong. He may have needed to take out Forster because he addresses it, in his press conference. He talks about Forster being in his head and allowing those mistakes to get to him. That seems like the time to rotate them out. But he didn't. He left him in. And personally, I kind of felt bad for the guy. It's like, well, he's leaving you out here high and dry. If you make another mistake, could you imagine if that had gone in? The one that he kicked away, if he had done that, as you said, everyone would be calling for Forrester's head. I mean, really, it would have been terrible.
That save with his legs. That save with his legs, Forster. I mean, that's all going. What the?
Well, the comment. Who was commentating on Sky? The guy who played for United, Neville, Gary Neville, he laughed. He actually laughed when he just booted out. Because I thought, when he had the shot, I thought he was just going to sort of gather it, catch it. Well, it was along the ground, so you can't really catch it. But stop it with his hands, pick it up. But when he booted, I thought, what the bloody hell's going on here? In the Sky comment, Gary Neville, he was shocked. He was shocked by it, but he was rattled by that stage.
If it had been a more cleaner strike, say, he's probably hit 2/3 of the ball or something with his foot. If it had been a smooth clearance, it would have took the edge off that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's a good job. Well, it's a good job he got a lot of his foot on it, because if it had skimmed off the side of his foot and gone in the net, I think there would have been a riot in the stadium.
Right, Eugene, pick one of these. Performance. Pick one. I'll give Alan the other one, right? So pick one.
I'll take Archie Gray. I feel like, all things considered, he had a pretty good game. I think he made one mistake when he was being pressed and he gave the ball away. I don't remember exactly where it was. I don't believe that second goal was his fault. So overall, all things considered, I feel like he had a pretty solid game. I was actually impressed with the way he played.
Yeah. Alan?
Dragishin. So Dragishin, I thought was okay. He had he made a header clearance that I thought was good at one point. But he had an okay game. It was, unfortunately, I don't think he did an amazing job, and I don't think he did a very poor job. I just think he kind of had an average game. He didn't impress me with anything. Did you see anything when you were there that impressed you about Dragishin's performance?
He's got. You can tell he's got a good football IQ. His positioning is so good. I mean, and he covered across on the right. He made some blocks. Spurs. I'll tell you something about the defence. For once, they made some real. I don't know what the stats are, but we made a lot of blocks and more. I bet we made more tackles than they did. If anyone's got the stats, get them up, because I thought at least we're biting a bit. I mean, and he covered from right centre back to right back as well when he come across and made tackles as well, right? I thought Gray was good. I mean, I thought
Gray was great.
I mean, Dragishin, to me, I'll ask Mark next. I mean, needs to improve his passing, and I think when things, I just think
terrible on the ball.
Gray, even when things were going wrong, he's got that sort of air of composure about him. Dragishin hasn't got that. Dragishin hasn't got that. He's got I mean, he'll get stuck in and all that. If it works, it looks good. If not, he's going to look awful. But with Gray, I mean, all the games he's been given, the times he's come, all the positions he's played, he might not have looked outstanding, but he's never let the team down once. Not the kid is quality. You can tell he's going to have a great career.
Yeah.
So but Dragishin, look, Gray technically all round, he's better. He's better than Dragishin, but then he's a midfield player, so expects him to be technically better anyway. Really, I mean, I know he played 30 games at right back for Leeds out of necessity last year. He bossed the game against Chelsea in the cup when they played. And he has played with a 10 even as well, but that's not his position. He doesn't look like a 10. Everybody's hoping he's going to be a 6, but you never know. Bergvall might end up there yet, doing it.
It does say something about Archie Gray that I think he had a better game than Dragishin, and Archie Gray's been playing everywhere, and Dragishin's playing in his preferred position.
Yeah,
and
because Gray's played at left back, that's why he's playing at left centre back, because he could cover that left hand side.
Yeah.
And like again, I question the purchase of Dragishin. He's a good defender, but he doesn't fit what Ange wants to do. So then the question is, why
did we get him? Didn't he? But then the pace is slower. Yeah. Okay, Mark. Anything on Gray and Dragishin?
No, Gray's, he does his bit, even though he's not a defender, like we've said on here many times. And Dragishin, he's fantastic for Romania, but I'm not sure about in this system.
Right, I'll come to you first this time, Mark. Pick one.
Oh, I like Jed Spence. He was my man of the match, to be honest. Yeah, he deserved it.
It wasn't mine, but we'll come on to it later.
No. But what? No. Just for being in there, because he
played very well.
Because to be honest, he was good going forward, and he's good at defending as well. And you can see, and you can see that he is he is a natural fullback, not a wing back, where the emphasis ain't really on defending with a wing back, because they're more like Porro. Porro's a wing back, so his game is going forward. It's not. He has got defensive responsibilities a little bit, but not in a wing back situation. A bit less, but you can tell. I hope Spence gets his rightful position as right back. You know, because especially, it's like I said, in the first half, like when Man United were coming down their left, our right, Porro was nowhere to be seen half the time. So,
Hey, what's up, Chang?
Right, Chang, welcome. Season's greetings to you and your family and friends. Alan, on Spence, what I've been looking for, what I've been looking on Spence for. We've all seen him go forward in pre-seasons and things like that. And what I was looking for is like what Mark's just alluded to, Eric could defend. He was in some tight situations on the left. Most people might have tried to play, but he didn't want to kick the ball out of touch. He still managed to control the ball, and he showed skill getting through them. And a couple of times we weaved our way out of really tight situations. So if he can defend, I'm all for him, you know.
Absolutely. He did really well. You know, he had two guys on him. We were right there at the corner, right at the edge of the whatever the boundary is, by the flag. And he still finds ways to kind of get out of those very sticky situations. But he runs. Look, Spence runs well. He makes good runs. He obviously keeps his head up. You know, because he made that nice pass to Solanke for the third goal. I really like Jed Spence. I haven't seen anything from his performance that would lead me to believe that he needs to sit on the bench like he has been. If anything, it makes it seem like, well, what is Ange looking at? Because Porro has had shocking games. If we get to Porro, I thought, other than the shot that he took on goal that led to the first goal, I didn't think Porro did much of anything.
No.
Manchester United was getting a lot of joy down his side, and because he tends to push up, which I guess as a wingback, that's what they're going to do. But he doesn't track back quick enough. And I don't think he has I just don't like him in the position he's in, to be honest. I don't know if he's tired, because he gets a lot of games. He's got to be somewhat tired. You know, even for a young guy, he's got to be exhausted because he gets played a ton. But we definitely need another alternative to Porro, because I think, other than maybe set pieces, I don't know that he does as well as people say he does.
Right. And even on the left, I feel like Spence had shown me more than Udogie this year. Udogie has been really poor. Porro, I agree with Alan. Porro has been poor. I think it's fatigue. But, I mean, and I agree with Ben's comment that I feel like Spence fits Ange's system more than both Udogie and Porro.
Yeah.
The only thing is, again, Ange is the second manager or third manager who doesn't fancy him for some reason. I don't know why. Conte didn't play him in Bologna. I believe in Bologna didn't play much, and now Ange. But I'm hoping that due to last couple of performances, I want to see Spence on a regular basis. I would sit either Porro or Udogie for a couple of games and give Spence an extended run of games to see what he can do. Because I was definitely impressed with the way he plays.
Well, you got to remember as well, Spence's natural position is right back, and he's been over on the left, and he's done just as well over there.
Yep, exactly.
You know, so I'd like to see him in the team instead of Porro all day, every day.
And the funny thing, the interesting thing is, every time, like when Udogie has the ball or when Udogie is one-on-one with the winger, I always feel nervous. When Spence was playing defense, for some reason, I felt calm. I didn't feel as nervous as I am with Porro or Udogie. He just feels more solid as a defender.
Bring Chang in. Chang, your take on Spence and Porro yesterday, their performances? We're doing these in pairs, Chang. It's the way I do my podcast. Yeah.
So, okay, with regards to Pedro Porro and Jed Spence, from what I saw on the telly anyway, I think that both of them did offer something different to each other. it's almost as though like if one is better going forward, the other one is better defensively, and I think this is where Big Ange himself has to manage the players with the opposition that they are facing. And for yesterday's game, I thought that Spence was the better suited of the two, although you could also argue that Porro did a sterling job on the right. But as far as Spence is concerned, I mean, if you didn't know his natural position and you saw him at left back filling in for Udogi yesterday, you'd think that he was a natural left back because he was so comfortable on the ball and he was very comfortable on that left wing, whether going forward or tracking back. And I think that is something that we have been missing all season, that rotation or even a replacement for Udogi down that left. And I agree with everything Alan and any of you have ever said with why, Spence has been overlooked in seasons past, even since the very beginning when he was brought in for Conte, possibly against Conte's wishes, or against his better judgment. But he's with us, and he's been putting in a shift.
Well,
Really, let's not get too ahead of ourselves over there. But I mean, we can always hope and dream of this treble or even the quad if Mr. Boxall is over here. But yeah, with regards to Spence, I mean, more of the same from him. I would love to see nothing more than rotation for our left wing or our left wing back, if that is his that is
Right
what
back.
Big Ange is uh preferring whenever we play teams like a City, a Liverpool, a United, maybe even a Chelsea. It will be very interesting. I'm going to say this about Spence and Porro, who starts where come Sunday against Liverpool. If we see more of Spence on the left ahead of Udogi, then that's going to be very telling. Maybe, just maybe, Udogi now is going to be getting the Werner treatment. And if Big Ange feels that he needs a rest, or maybe he's not been performing, or maybe fatigue and just weariness, tiredness has gotten the better of him, then that rotation comes in. But if Spence is the one starting at right back ahead of Porro on Sunday against Liverpool, that in itself is also sending a different sort of message to Porro or the fans or even the rest of the players themselves. All I have to say about Spence and Porro and the way Big Ange deploys them, this is what so many of us fans have been clamoring for ever since we've had this little niggles and injuries and even suspensions to our team. And this is what healthy competition should be all about. I am all for it. And I think we're going to need every single last one of those players to the end of the season, assuming we do not get any reinforcements, which I really hope we do, because this is going to be one monumental season, not just for the players or Big Ange or us fans, for the club in itself. So yeah, whatever Big Ange is doing, the rotation, the deployment of these players, more of the same. But I would really love to see some reinforcements to help this fledgling side before the end of the season. Hopefully, fingers crossed, in about slightly over a week's time from now, we will be seeing some early business to help them both. With that, having said that, back to you, Mrs. Stroker and Mr. Cousins.
Eugene, the midfield pivot, Sarr and Basuma. Your take on him?
Yeah, and I think I spoke on them a bit in the beginning of the pod, but Bissouma, I thought, had a pretty good first half. Sarr didn't stand out to me. And again, I was disappointed in the midfield as a whole, just given, Ericsson, Bruno, and Ugarte for United. I thought our midfield should have done a better job controlling the game. And I felt like at times they did not. And again, Bissouma was okay. He got tired in the second half, but Sarr was up and down. I didn't see much from Sarr in this game, unfortunately.
Alan, your take on the midfield pivot?
You know, I kind of disagreed there. I thought, well, I agree. Basuma had a fantastic game. If only Basuma would play like that every game. But he is super inconsistent, and when I see games like what we saw yesterday, it makes me ask, why can't he do this more often? He was a beast in the midfield. And Sarr, I think personally, I think Sarr is a future captain, or or leadership material. He's a workhorse. He was doing things that they're not sexy. They're not things that get mentioned in after game reviews. But he's a workhorse, and I think he did a really good job. I mean, the yellow card that we talked about was kind of light, and unfortunately, he's going to miss, the next game. But I think Sarr had a pretty good game, to be honest.
Mark, your take on the midfield pivot?
Right. Sarr spent most of the game covering Porro's ass. Because when Porro disappeared, Sarr was like shuffling across the because that's when Man United, it was down Man United's left, our right, that Man United were getting in all the time. In the first half, Bruno Fernandes was stood over there, I think, and he was just stood there on his own. Every time they come forward, I don't know where Porro was. I honestly thought that he had upset stomach or something. He was doing an Eric Dyer, kept having to go toilet or something. But it's like I said, Porro, he's half sensible going forward, but he's not very good defensively. Ben Sarr was covering his ass the whole game, covering his ass. And Basuma, yeah, he did well. He sort of, between both of them, they covered Ericsson and whoever else they had in the middle, but even so, there was parts of the second half when they just got overran and Man United had most of the ball. So Basuma, he don't do it regularly enough for me, but I agree, Sarr is a future captain of the club.
But with Sarr, my issue is
Gray or Bergvall. Go on, Eugene.
Yeah, with Sarr, again, I mean, I think we talked about it the last couple of times. I like him as a player, but if you want to be a true box-to-box, he needs to offer us more in the final third. I feel like his tech isn't there yet, and I feel like he does help us out defensively, covering up for Porro. But in games like last night, we need more from that box-to-box midfielder from an 8 in the final third, and I feel like he doesn't offer us enough. That's my issue with him at this point. I mean, he's still young, he's not 18 anymore. That's the problem. I feel like he can improve, but I'm not sure how much he can improve and if he'll ever reach that level that we need.
I think Sarr now is sort of in that in between. He's not a kid, but he's not the full player yet. He's what is he, 22, 23? I think he's that sort of, he's not a kid learning the game anymore, but he's not the finished article. He's that sort of in between slot at the moment. But and to be honest, I can only see him getting better and better.
Yeah,
there are a lot of players on the side that have got a learning to do. They're still developing.
Yeah, but passing, like either you have it or you don't, right? I'm not sure if you can learn technique at this age. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like some players, they either have it or they don't, and he's not that sort of player. I'm wondering if he can be the 6 in the future. I'm not sure, because that might fit Sarr better than being an 8. I don't know.
I don't think so, because he's got so much energy. You'd want to use him as a box-to-box number 8.
That's fair.
Kang, your take on Sarr and Basuma?
Oh, they were very good for us yesterday. Don't get me wrong, but if and when Bentancur comes back, my preferred midfield pairing would be Bentancur and Sarr, just behind Madison, or even Bergvall, depending on the team that we're playing or whichever midfielders that Big Ange feels suited for the job. Bissouma for me, yes, he has been blowing hot and cold, and I'm sure that his recent games for us, barring maybe City away and United at home yesterday evening, the rest of his performances was somewhat underwhelming, and this has actually been the case not just from last season, even when he was brought in by Conte. So for me, Bissouma still has a lot to prove, but I will say this about Bissouma and whom we feel needs to be sold or kept. I mean, we've been down this road with our centre backs, our defenders, even for some of our other players where we felt that we should have better rotations, better backups, better alternatives if one of them gets suspended. And for me, the likes of our Bissoumas or SARS or even Fraser Fosters, whatever they may be, if Big Ange fancies that some of these players are good enough to be rotational players and they can do a proper job when called upon, I would love to keep Bissouma at the club, provided he does keep up with the consistency, much like Madison, much like Foster or Spence or anyone else for that matter. But if based solely on these two, I would definitely choose Sarr over Bissouma. Come Sunday against Liverpool again, much like what I said about Porro and Spence earlier, it will be very interesting to see that midfield trio that Big Ange calls upon to try and combat Liverpool and their midfield. I'm guessing that Sarr is going to get the nod ahead of Bissouma, assuming Kulusevski has to come into midfield and Johnson starts on the right. But if Bissouma does come on, it's not the end of the world and it's not the worst possible option for us to have in midfield. But yeah, for me, honestly, Bissouma needs a lot more consistency, and he has shown glimpses. I really do hope that we see more of the same, or even better still, he steps up and really be the Bissouma whom a lot of us saw when he was still with Brighton. All in all, I think Bissouma only has himself to blame if he doesn't pull his socks up, because the Chelsea game and the penalty that he gave away was nothing short of disastrous. So I really do hope that doesn't come to pass on Sunday against Liverpool if he does get the nod ahead of Sarr, or if he does feature at some point. But yeah, for me, Bissouma can still, put in a shift for us, but he has to have a word with himself and his on field and off field performances if he has to have any sort of future left or career with us at this club. Back to you, Mr. Stroker.
I thought Sarr and Bissouma were excellent. Actually, they did what they were supposed to do. They didn't come through us through the middle. They didn't really get through. They didn't get through the middle of us. We forced them out wide, even when we were struggling. We still forced them out wide. Most of their attacks were forced wide. I just thought they did. I thought Sarr showed such maturity to be on a yellow card. When people around me were screaming in to be subbed, right? And I thought Bissouma was outstanding, but like for what he had to do, I really did. I mean, and it would have been between him and Spence for me for man of the match, but we'll come to that later. We'll move on though, quickly. Mark, Madison Kulusevski?
Again, Madison was sort of... Madison never really likes to place up, does he? Some games he does, but I can't remember anything he done last night, to be honest. I probably had the wrong glasses on mine, but no, Kulu obviously scored. Kulu is always a live wire, but Madison seems to sort of drift in and out of games. He sort of disappears, and then he'll do something. But honestly, I can't remember one thing that Madison done. I'm sure I'm going to get told off by.
Well, he had a hand. He wasn't an assist, but he definitely had a hand in the first goal. And
oh yeah,
give it a Bissouma.
Yeah.
I think he got the ball off of Sonny. I can't remember every
No,
thing.
no,
Right?
no.
Yeah. So he had in the first goal. He was he sort of played well. He sort of played within himself. Remember, we're playing.
Yeah.
They can't all. None of them had a bad performance. Otherwise, we would have lost this game. I mean, apart from you could say Forster only, right? But then he did make 2 good saves in the game. The one that, So, Eugene, Madison Kulusevski.
Yeah, like with Madison, I feel like Eleni Yoro did a good job man marking him. I feel like that's what he was doing. That's what his assignment was. So I feel like he had Madison marked most of the game and did a good job. Madison, I'm not his biggest fan. He did okay, but I feel like given that he's a liability on the defensive end, he needs to really make his mark in the final third, and he didn't. So was he poor? No. Was he great? No. He was okay. But in order for us to win games, we need more from him. We need him to actually own games and drive us forward. And I feel like he was a bit of a passenger in the game, so he was okay. Kulusevski was pretty good. He's always good. Again, I don't fancy him on the right. He's better through the middle. Other than the goal that he scored, he was okay as well. Nothing special, but he does a lot of work tracking back. So unlike Madison, he does do a lot of work off the ball. So I'll give him a pass in the final third when he doesn't contribute as much as he should. But I felt like he had a pretty good game overall.
Alan, with Madison, I mean, he's good and cold. I mean, he's a wonderful footballer, and he's got a great footballing IQ. Just sometimes I question his IQ when in a game against like Southampton away, he'll push more of a forward, play more as a true 10. And like it was very effective. When it doesn't work so much like in the game against Man United. And when they started off, they were playing 5-4-1 when they set up. They played 5-4-1. So he was going to have it hard up there anyway, right? And I just thought, right, okay. Yeah, and I just thought...
Evening, Jose, by the way. Jose, I should say.
Jose, we'll be going for about another half hour at least. You can come on, Jose, if you want.
I can sort that out in the background if you want.
Yeah, I liked it when he dropped. I didn't like. I mean, none of us liked it when he was coming and picking the ball off the back four, right? Things like that. It's not his job, in my opinion. You can do it against Southampton. Oh, Phil's here. Look, you can do it. Evening, Phil. Season's greetings to you and your family and all your friends.
Evening all.
Yeah, evening all. So
what's up, Phil?
And and then when Kulusevski's put the pressure of him, stopped him getting kicked so much, and he's dropped more as a central midfielder. He was getting more, and that's worked for him. And I just think like during a game, he should sense which works best for him and move accordingly. And I thought if he'd dropped a little bit deeper, then he could drag his marker out of space, out of place. You know what I mean? So like, but this is being clever after a game. I mean, it's easy to be a hindsight. You know what I mean? So I'm going to come to you away. And then I'll come to Alan, right? Madison and Kulusevski, how do you think your take on them yesterday?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Madison, I agree with Mark. He's sort of like dipped out of games. He hasn't been like consistent. Okay, is it?
I can hear you all right. I don't know if...
with Madison, he sort of... I think with everyone in the team, they're not really consistent apart from Dooley. I think everyone being consistent in the team. But on his day, he's a game changer. But we need to get him in positions to have an impact on the game. And I think playing him in a deeper role sort of has a negative on his performances. I'd like to see him further up the field. Bringing strikers, putting through balls into Solanke. And I think from a deep position, he can't do that. But with Kulusevski, he's been by far our best player this season. By far. I can't think of anyone near him, to be honest with you.
Do you think that like with Maddison, and also he tends to have a bit more of effect because he plays central and sort of drifts left. If he comes right, he's going to be in other players' space, right? And then he was getting the link up really before. It would be with Udogie and Son on the left, and you'd have got that sort of triangle, Maddison in between Udogie and Son, because Udogie will at least get you an overload on the left, whereas Porro will cut in and you won't get overloads with Johnson, which I think is an issue. Sometimes it's issues, not always, not when we win. But I mean, yeah. So do you think that's an issue? All right, well, let's move on. I'll come to you on these two, Chain, Son and Solanke.
I dubbed them our SOS pairing, Son and Solanke. I believe it was in the We Are Tottenham TV pump up yesterday evening before the match, and boy oh boy did we need them both together yesterday. Our SOS pairing up front, and they have been blowing hot and cold, much like Bissouma, but in recent games, especially Son, one against United and one against Chelsea, and also was it one against Southampton? I believe yes, one against Southampton. So more of the same from him, from our captain, and you could see that yesterday more than anything when the club was. I wouldn't say we were tethering, neither were we on the ropes, but we really needed that little something extra. Son was the one who provided it. You could say anything you want about that fluke corner or the fluke goal if it comes to that, but when we were really in need of some inspiration, he provided it. And this was even before the corner came, when he was trying to slow the game down, and he somehow incited, I think it was Enzo, was it? Martinez, who, correct. Martinez came up to him and tried to usher him towards the corner flag to get him to take the corner quickly. I mean, this is smart on his part, Son. And as for Solanke, I mean, 2 for him yesterday against United. He still has some way to go to justify that 60 million odd pound price tag of his from Bournemouth, but he is getting there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does double figures for us in the league this season easily, given how he still has so much left to prove for us. But both of these players, I think, for me, they are almost undroppable to a certain extent, weariness and fatigue and tiredness notwithstanding. Against Liverpool, I think that they have to start both of them, but it would not come as a surprise to me if they are both taken off or rested at some point, because the games are going to be coming thick and fast this congested festive month, even well beyond December into next year. Son, for me, he should always stay on the left from between now to the end of the season. Don't get me wrong, he still can try and do a shift as a centre forward, but for me, Son has to be on the left, Solanke up front by himself. If no other option persists, and this is a big if Will Lancashire is to be given any sort of game time, I would rather use him sparingly if it does come down to rotations or even suspensions or touch on wood injuries to Solanke. For me, Solanke needs all the game time he can get to rack up those goals. Maybe give him that little boost of confidence going into the second half of the season. As for Son, I think he still has a lot to offer. despite what many are saying that he's over the hill, he has run out his welcome, he is past his sell-by date. Again, this goes back to what I was saying about our players. Be careful with what you wish for, whom you wish to keep or whom you wish to sell. We've seen it backfire on multiple occasions. Players whom we feel should still be at our club have long been sold. And suddenly now when we are hit with an injury crisis or suspensions or God knows what else, we are wishing for these players to still be with us. So for me, I am very grateful that Son is still very much with us. I really do hope either him or the club activates his 1-year extension beyond this season, because Son, for me, he still has that level of a class player to be a difference maker if and when the occasion calls for it. And as for Solanke, I mean, this is only his first season. I expect more of the same from him, assuming Richarlison isn't going to be coming back into the fold anytime soon. So yeah, both of these players.
There's two comments from Ben that just about sum this up, right? This is the first one. Son Anonymous, but he got me a short with 20,000 views. So big up to him. And this one. Tottenham on tour, gained 30 plus sub yesterday, just from Sonny. So my player of the match.
Right, I'll come to you because I know you've got to go and do some sunbathing right out there in San Diego while we're all freezing.
Oh yeah.
You've got to go soon.
I do. I gotta run in a second. But
you get your take, and then I'll come to Eugene. Yeah.
Can we have a weather report first from San Diego?
No. Let's move on.
All right. So Solanke did very well. I think he did very well. He scored 2 goals. I mean, that's what we've been clamoring for, is for him to score goals, and he did that twice last night. So, I mean, you can't take that away from him. And he's a workhorse. Again, he does so much off the ball, and then he does so much to bring the ball forward, that it gets kind of overlooked. So he was. I mean, I still had Jed Spence as my man of the match, but Solanke was right up there. But Son, look, I can't take anything away from Son's corner kick. What a corner kick! 1 in a million. 1 in a million.
Was it luck? Was it luck?
Well, I guess
Yeah.
We'll never know, but
he put it into an area. He put it into a very dangerous area. I wonder if even Onana or another better goalie would have actually got their fist to the ball and punched it away. Yeah.
But so it goes. He didn't, and we got the goal. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. I miss the Son of old.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that he is not the same player. He doesn't put in tackles. He tracked back a bit. I will give him that, but he doesn't do what I really want someone on the left wing to do anymore. He's lost the step, and I don't know. I didn't think he did too much yesterday, to be honest. He seemed kind of, as Ben said, he seemed kind of anonymous. I mean, he got the ball, but he didn't keep the ball, and he never really won his one-on-ones. I still think that his best days are past him.
Yeah.
Eugene, Solanke?
Yeah. This might be.
Do you think actually, on the fan base though, in general, with Son, right? He's passed. He was sharing the most assists in the club's history with Darren Anderton, who everyone called sick note, but played 299 games for the club. So that's no sick note, in my opinion. Do you think Son is getting a bit? It seems to be the fan base to take it in turns to have a player they love to hate. I mean, like, he's contributed this season with assists and goals. He's got goals and assists. Do you think they're being unharsh. Do you think he's really lost that much pace? I didn't
I
see
agree
it
with Alan.
earlier in the season. I didn't see him when he was chasing VDV the full length of the pitch to like score as well. I didn't see it in those two games. Now whether he's tired or not, I don't know, being played or what. But I'm not quite there with players that he's and I agree with Chang that he should be given an extension because we've got no other finisher at the club like him. But what's your take on Son and Solanke?
I agree with Alan. I mean, this might be an unpopular opinion, but this whole season, I feel like, and I love Sonny, but I feel like he hasn't been himself. Obviously, he's getting older. He lost a step, but I just feel like there's a lot of criticism for Johnson. People say, "Oh, he only, scores the tap-ins and does nothing else." And with Son in many games, yes, he can score a one-off goal or an assist, but I just don't see him doing anything else. Like yesterday or last night, yes, it was a great goal. Again, it was more of a lucky goal, but there are some chances that Son in the past would put away. He doesn't anymore. His passing isn't the same. I just feel like he's missing an action in most of the games. And also, as a captain, when we were up 3-2, when again we were doing our Spursy thing, when the heads are down, just like what happened against Chelsea and Brighton. As a captain, I feel like Sonny should be doing more. I know that's not his style or personality, but as a captain, he should be rallying the troops. He should be doing more on the pitch to talk to the players, saying, "Hey guys, let's get going." And it seems like he's the first person who drops his head and gets upset. And I don't know. I'm just not I'm not feeling it. Again, I hope they give him an extension just because he's a club legend. But both on the pitch, he lost a step. He's not as clinical. Maybe it's his confidence. He doesn't contribute as much. And as a captain, he doesn't, for me personally, he doesn't do as much as he should.
Okay, we'll move on. I'll come to all of you with this, and as Alan's going to go shortly, I'll come to him first. Who is your man of the match?
Jed Spence. Jed Spence is someone who was in purgatory for a very long time and has come out of purgatory and has shined in the two. This last game, the game before as well. He just is great. He really is. He's doing so fantastic. I don't know how much more he could actually be doing. So that's why he's my man of the match. Other than maybe scoring goals.
Yeah, he's taken his chance and he's got to show that sort of level of consistency, doesn't he?
Yeah.
For you. Chang, your man of the match?
That was the correct answer, Alan, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
This is going to be possibly not as objective to select your man of the match. This is rather subjective, depending on how you perceive or how you sort of grade each player, depending also on how you feel they affected the match, whatever the outcome it may have been. But for me, my man of the match goes to Archie Gray. Is he a right back? Is he a defensive midfielder? Is he a centre back? What is he? I mean, this guy just slots in almost seamlessly. Granted, there are better in our club, especially doing what he does at whatever position he has been called to deputize at. But for me, against United yesterday, I mean, I'm just lost for words. All of us were so on our knees and just begging for Eric Dyer or Davinson Sanchez or any of our centre backs pass to come back to us the moment we heard of Ben Davis's injury. Archie Gray has done a fantastic job filling in, whether it's at right back, centre back, defensive midfield, even centre midfield, you name it. And yesterday, he was all over the place. not so much as in all out at sea or gone amiss, but he was imperious. And yeah, this is another player whom I think is slowly but surely justifying his purchase from Leeds United. But yeah, much like Bissouma, much like Solanke or Johnson or even Madison, the consistency is what a lot of us Spurs fans want from him. But for me, yesterday, especially against Manchester United, Archie Gray would be my man of the match. Back to
Okay,
you, Mr.
Phil,
Tucker.
your man of the match.
I'll give 3 shout outs to. I'll give my man of the match, but I want to give a shout out to Basuma and Archie Gray, like Chang said as well, because I think Archie Gray, at 18 years old, playing in multiple positions, that itself is, is very impressive. At the age he is, I think that'll put him in good stead when he gets older as well. When he's progressing as a player, that'll only help us as a team as well. If we have injuries in certain positions, he'll be able to fill in into them positions comfortably. So I think he's going to be a good player for us in the future. And I thought he had a solid game. Basuma as well. I haven't been impressed with him this season, but I did think he had a good game. I thought he kept the ball well. He kept it moving. Although when we made that first mistake, forced to make that first mistake, he was one of the players that sort of dropped his game. But overall, he had a good performance. But Kulusevski, for me, by far, I thought he was our best player on the day. He just the way he carries the ball, do you know what I mean, for the team, and he would be my captain instead of Sonny.
He's Sweden's captain there.
Yeah, but it might be controversial but I really truly feel that he could be our captain, and he drives us forward. He drives us forward every game this season. So yeah, that'd be my picks.
Okay, interesting. Mark, your man of the match?
Well, obviously, I'm going to give it to Jed Spence, right? Because he was criticised for his attitude, and everyone thought he was going to be run out of the club. But no, he seems to have sorted his head out. He's getting his head down. He's bided his time, and to be honest, I'd sooner him at right back than Paro, to be honest. And I agree with what Phil says about Kulusevski being a captain instead of Son. As much as I love Son, and I do, because he's great service over the 10, 11 years, whatever it is he's been with us. But for me, a captain has got to get angry, shout at people. And Sonny's just too nice to do that. You know what I mean? He just not... Sonny's too nice to be a captain.
You know what, as well, though, Mark, right? I think him being captain sort of affects his performances. I think if you have someone else as a captain, I think it takes the weight off his shoulders. Yeah. He concentrates on his game more than actually being a captain around everyone.
He's just generally too nice a person. He's just
concentrate on his game.
Rather than be a captain. Do you know what I mean? I want a captain. If things aren't going right, they sort of shout at people. And Sonny, as lovely as he is, we all love Sonny, but he's not that in your face, get angry with people, is he? He's just too nice. He's too nice to be a captain. Because if Sonny give you orders, you'd probably just smile at him and laugh, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
So it's Jed Spence, Mark, yeah?
Definitely.
Right. Eugene, your man of the match?
Yeah, I mean, Archie Gray's a good shout. I didn't think of it, but he stepped up. I would go with Spence too, because he also played out of position on the left. I give it to Spence. And like you said before, I do want to see more of him over Poro and Udogie. I feel like he definitely fits the system better. So yeah, I'd give it to Spence.
My man of the match. I'm in an iron between Basuma and Solanke, and I'm giving it to Solanke. 2 goals, and he put as much work in as anybody else, if not more, as the same as Kulu. And what impressed me yesterday, I've always said on videos, when people say to me, well, you go and watch a video of a player, they always look good and all that, so you ain't going to learn nothing. Yeah, but you do. You do. Because if you're looking for midfielders and forwards, what I'm looking for is players with vision that move the ball quickly, can make things happen. I didn't think Solanke, when he came in, was more of a forward that makes things happen, more of an opportunist and a poacher in the box. But he showed me something different yesterday. That second goal was a Harry Kane. That was a Harry Kane goal. When he weaves his way through the tent and slots it into that corner. And so to me, I'm giving it, and I would have given it to Basuma over Spence as well, but they're all good shouts. So Gray was good shout as well. They're good shouts, which shows, although we're doing a critique, we're not murdering the players. Right? If we were poor, we'd have lost the game. We made stupid errors, but if we'd have poor, we'd have lost the game. Right, we will move on.
Well, if we'd lost Adrian, none of them would have got man of the match. No. I'm just saying, if we'd lost, none of them would have got man of the match.
Right. Preview Spurs Liverpool. Right. Injury woes and suspensions 9. Aim says 10. Maybe he thinks Werner's still ill. I don't know. Vicara, Odebert, Davis, Richarlison, Moore, VDV, Romero. Udogie had a quad problem, and Bentancur suspended. And I haven't put Werner on there because I don't know if his illness, if he's got this bug that Mikey Moore's had. But Mikey Moore's back in training, guys. So we are not down to the bare bones. We're down to the bone marrow with this squad at the moment. But by the new year, we should get players back, which means we should have, in theory, a stronger second half to the season. I believe we are going to have a stronger second half, but then I'm always positive.
Fingers crossed.
Right, so we'll move on to the predictive lineup. Phil.
Yeah.
Back 4 and 5. I mean, obviously it's going to be full string goal. You can't destroy his confidence after he's made mistakes. And the one thing about goalkeepers like Lloris, when he's bundled them in the net and made the odd ricket, at least in most of those games we didn't lose them, which would have make the meltdown even worse, you know. But full string goal, back 4.
Forster, for me, I think Liverpool are going to target Forster in that game straight from the off. It worries the hell out of me that he's going to be playing in that game because I think his confidence is going to be shot after that. I'd be inclined to play Austin, to be honest with you. I thought he did all right in pre-season.
I think Jose's been on the mulled wine already.
Yeah.
Mulled wine. 5 minutes. Big up, Jose.
Jose, bring your shirt. You're playing Sunday.
Yeah.
Midfield.
Yeah.
I'd say Austin for me. That might be controversial to a lot of Spurs fans, but I'd play Austin. On
that, I've got to interject here because I just want to. The thing is, the goalkeeper's made a couple of mistakes. You've still won the game. I mean, not good. If you think Foster's really not up to it, that's fair enough. But then, do you really kick him in the nuts for the 2 mistakes in the game you won and destroy his confidence? Because he's going to play again this season. That'd be my concern if he drops.
Adrian, I'd be inclined to play him in a game where, you know, we can afford to sort of take him out. In this game, I think you know, it's a big game against Liverpool, you know, especially at home. I just think Austin deserves a shout for me, and I think Forster's done okay. He has, but I just think I think in that game, I think his confidence is going to be absolutely shot. I could be wrong, but I'd be inclined to play Austin. Spence, I think he deserves a shot. I think I'll play him right back. I'll play a Udogie left back with Gray and Dragerson. Yeah. If Davis ain't fit.
Yeah. I think that'll be the back 4. But I just want
to answer this quickly?
It's saying Yang valuable. I think with Yang, because he's 18, he can be registered on the 1st of January, right? So that paperwork can be done with Vuskovic, because he's coming in as well.
It's next year, that is.
Well, this is the year I haven't had a chance to research it yet. Vuskovic is not 18 till the 24th of February. Now, the clubs have to announce their squads because you've got the January transfer window. You resubmit your Europa League squad, you resubmit your Premier League squad at the end of January. I think there might be 2 weeks at the end of the transfer window to do it in, right? I don't know as yet, and I'd like the club to keep Vuskovic. What I've seen of him, he looks a baller of the back, right? But I'd like them to keep him. But he may well have to go back on loan for the rest of the season. But I don't know if they can register him, but he can't play until he's 18 because legal employment rules. You know, it's like when you bring a kid into the academy, you can give them a 3-year contract at 16, but they only get a 2-year scholarship, and then they can sign a 1-year professional form. It's so as the young players don't get exploited, right? So, but then you can get involved in tricky situations when you lose a player that way. And be fair, we've nicked players that way as well, right? So it works, it swings and roundabouts on that. Yeah. So he will be available for selection. And I don't see him going out. Everyone's crying out for wingers. He can play on both sides. I suggest people go and look at him. He scored 12 goals in the K-League, was voted their player of the season in the K-League. He got about 6 assists. Can't remember any games they played. At that level of what I've seen on the video, he can score from outside the box. He can play on either side of the wings. He is a dribbler as well. He's got pace. He has got pace. He's got pace to burn, right? So, but we'll see. Does that mean he's like, because I've seen what I like, what I see? I don't know. Ask me at the end of the season. You know, I mean, you got to watch. It's like Spence and all that. Played well in the last couple of times. He's got to keep it up, isn't he? Same with Graham Bergvall. Bergvall's starting to look the player we think he was in the last couple of games when he's come on and played one and that. But again, wait till the end of the season. These kids are young. Will their bodies hold up? You know, they're going to have to be rested. Anyway, so we were back to the back four. Chang, you agree with Phil? Back four of like Spence plays and your doggy comes back, and basically Graham Dragerson. We haven't got no one else in centre backs anyway.
If Udogie is fit and he does come back to slot in at left back, I think Porro would do well with a rest. Because honestly, for this game against Liverpool, I definitely fancy Spence at right back over Porro. More so of his defensive abilities and his tracking back compared to Porro is probably the only tweak at the back which I will make. I mean, Dragushin and Archie Gray can just continue doing what they've been doing for us, deputizing for Van der Ven and Romero. But that would be a very tricky selection at right back to have to make for Sunday. If Porro starts, it's not the end of the world, but he would have to justify his selection going forward rather than his defensive capabilities. If he does get the nod ahead of Spence. But for me personally, I would stick with Udogie at left back if he is fit to start. And let's see if Spence can feature for the third consecutive match in the space of 8 days. I think it's been since last Sunday against Southampton. So my preferred back four would be Udogie on the left, Spence on the right, and it's going to be Archie Gray and Dragushin at centre back.
Right. Eugene, you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with Chang. I agree and disagree with Phil. I agree that if we could not handle the press from Man U, Liverpool's press is going to give us all kinds of issues. So that's going to be a big issue for us. On the other hand, like Austin, I mean, we haven't seen him. I don't even know if he is, if he's a player or just a myth. We've heard his name for 5-6 years. All he does is being on the bench. And the best thing for a player who makes mistakes is to run him out there as soon as possible, so he doesn't start thinking about it. Because I agree with Adrian.
It's a hard one.
Bench,
It's a hard one, isn't it,
Yeah.
Eugene?
yeah. No, I definitely agree. Like,
Austin,
if you bench
Austin was
this
an
right
England
now,
under 21 goalkeeper. They give him, I think they give him the 5-year contract, whatever,
Yeah,
because
but-
he's homegrown. You see, he adds up the
He's made for
homegrown
us.
figures. He's obviously not a bad goalkeeper, but whereas I watched all the under 21 games last year, and Gunter I think's fantastic, right? But you're thinking to yourself, hang about, we've heard about all these players in the under 21s. What we never heard about in the under 21s was good fullbacks, what we really need, would never get shout and why haven't we heard about Austin so much over the last few years? Even when he was England's under 21 goalkeeper, he must have been going through some hot form, you know. But
yeah, I mean,
I think Forster starts. But go on. So
yeah, Liverpool is not the game to experiment with a youngster, with a goal, with a keeper. And Forster, if we bench him right now, his confidence will be shot forever. I feel like he needs to be rolled out. I expect him to struggle. But at this point, it is what it is. Ultimately, I don't think we have that many options, unfortunately.
I mean, Austin, he's not a kid.
No,
He's
he's
not.
No, he's like 26 or something. 25?
25. He's 25. I mean, he hasn't had. He's been on loan to certain clubs and he's got experience that way, but he obviously hasn't played in the Prem. But I don't know, man. I'll be inclined to just.
He looked decent pre-season, the games he came in.
Like Eugene said, he is a myth. He is a myth, and we haven't seen him play. Do you know what I mean? And the club giving him a 5-year contract must think something of him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To give him that sort of a lengthy contract. So I don't know.
But there is there's a reason why we've been looking for a keeper forever, for a backup.
Well,
So
have we though? I mean,
was ready.
The keeper we were looking for when Paratici was there was Garcia at Espanyol, I think it is, or something like that. But are we? I don't think we're looking for a keeper in January because Forster will go the end of this season, and then Austin might get his chance because this is Foster's last season. So I think he was given that contract, right? Because we know that Forster's going. You know, you've got Gunter. You won't have Sam Archer is in the 18s, but you've got Josh Keeley at Orient as well. Like Whiteman, I don't think Whiteman's good enough, so he might. But I don't know if he was given. He might be let go. Like, you know, Mark, you agree with the back four and goalkeeper, and I'll come to you. Feel free.
Just a good evening to Brian, Mr. Dago in the chat.
Good evening.
Yeah, right now. Yeah, it's gonna be Forster and goal. I'd like to see. Now, probably my best mate is a Liverpool fan, and I was texting him, and I said, after I saw last night's game, I texted him and said, whoever's on your left side going up against our right back is going to have a field day on Sunday with Paro doing his disappearing acts, and he said that's Gakpo, and so, but hopefully, I'd love to see Spence in there because Udogie didn't play last night. Stick Udogie back in as left back and stick Spence on the right. Definitely,
well,
a million%.
Porro plays if Udogie isn't fit and Spence plays on the left, but if Udogie's fit, Spence plays on the right. I mean,
and we all know who's going to be in the middle. It's not even worth talking about who's going to be in the middle. We've only got two.
For hours, so I want to get your opinions on the midfield three, and then I'll get your opinions on the front three. Yeah. So, Mark, your midfield three, and that's a harder selection to make anyway.
Yeah. Sarr. Sarr. Bentancur's not back yet, is he?
No, game
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day.
Sarr, definitely. He's first name on the team sheet. I'd probably.
You've got a choice. Madison, Kulusevski.
Yeah. Sarr, Biss, Sarr, Basuma, and Madison.
Okay.
That's my three.
Phil? Midfield three?
Basuma, Sarr, Madison.
Chan? Midfield three?
Difficult one to call this, but I did mention this earlier when we were talking about Sarr and Bissouma that I would love to see Sarr partnering Kulusevski in midfield, assuming Johnson starts on the right. So that midfield trio for me is going to be Maddison leading the line with Sarr and Kulusevski behind him to get the most out of possibly Maddison and Sarr and Kulusevski come Sunday against Liverpool.
Yeah,
Eugene, you going that way? Would you be bold and sort of like go for a Sarr, Kulusevski and Bergvall in midfield and bring Johnson's pace back into the team, or
no? So it's a tough one. I mean, I personally, I'm not a biggest fan of Maddison, but against Liverpool, he has to start. It's a big game. So maybe I'll risk it and just go Maddison, Kulusevski, Bissouma, and Johnson on the right. It's tough because I feel like Johnson sat last night's game, so I feel like he's going to play on the weekend. And Kulusevski is a must start every single game. And with Maddison, the only position Kulusevski can play is an 8. I don't like when both of them are playing together since we're not solid defensively. But against Liverpool, maybe I'd risk it and just go Bissouma, Kulusevski, Maddison with Johnson on the right.
Well,
and give Sarr some rest and bring him in the second half.
Yeah. If we're on point. Your midfield three, Mark?
Sarr, first name on the team sheet. It depends where Kulu plays, doesn't it? But the thing is, with I'd like to see Bissouma in there to try and get grip at the midfield. To be honest, because if we have Kulusevski and Maddison in there, I just feel that Liverpool are just going to plough straight through us. We want someone with a bit of steel in the middle to try and control them, because because if you play Kulu, if you play Kulu and Maddison, there's no real steel in the middle, is there? Because both of them are sort of progressive thinking, and you want someone who's going to sit a bit deeper and try and stop them. Because it's going to be a tough game in Liverpool. We all know that. But then if you play, Kulu,
I've done mine, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
After we've done the forwards, we do the predicted scores.
For me, Sarr, Biss, and Maddison.
Okay.
I mean, Kulu, I think Kulu's been playing okay on the right hand side.
Yeah.
I feel like. I feel like though with Liverpool, I think they're going to have most of the possession. So our only chance is on the counter, and Johnson's the guy. So that's why Kulu on the right, he lacks that pace. So I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'll get where you're coming from. I just
it's a tough one.
Kulu, I thought he was quite pacey last game. I thought he took players on, and I don't know, man. I agree with Mark. I think you have to have Bissouma and Sarr in there, just their work rate in the a bit of defensive style in there for us.
Yeah.
Kulu, obviously,
not that Ange thinks about defense whatsoever, but like that's what I do.
Maddison sits, then I would sit Maddison. He's not going to like it, but it matters.
My midfield three, I'm going Bissouma and Sarr because they're a good midfield pivot against Man United. We've got a lot of pace on the wings, but they're expensive wingers and that are letting them down. So I'd stick with a midfield pivot of both of them, and I would play Maddison. And the reason I'd play Maddison, because you can always hook players if it's not going well or not going right. You can always change things. If you want to solidify it, you could take a Maddison off and bring a Bergvall on or something like that. But the reason I'd play Maddison is you're playing Liverpool going to come at us. These are teams that give us space to play. Now, if we don't get pressed off the ball and start kicking the ball long because we're under intense pressure, we're going to cause Liverpool problems. We will cause them problems. They'll cause us problems. Both teams are going to cause each other problems. They're both good teams. All right, Liverpool are the better team with the better squad, but you'd argue that Man United have got a better squad than Spurs. They're just underperforming and they haven't really sorted out how to play, what sort of system they want to play under. So I would start Maddison, but if he didn't get stuck in or if Bissouma wasn't on top, you've got Bergvall you can bring on, right? And I'd have no hesitation. I've got no qualms about bringing Bergvall on the last couple of times I've seen him play. So, we're missing my favourite midfield player in Bentancur. But, Yeah, so I would start the same midfield. They've won this game against Man United. They held the midfield well, even when they were pushed back. They didn't play through us as like they were running through our midfield like a knife through butter. That didn't happen. We kept them out wide, which is what you're supposed to do. Front three, Mark?
Sonny, Slanky. I never said Kulu, did I?
No.
I'm sorry, Brennan. I know I'm chairman of JDL, but I'm sorry, Brennan. It's gonna have to be Kulu on the right.
Yeah, Brennan can sit on the bench with Werner, right? Phil.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, it's got to be that. It's got to be that front three.
Yeah.
With Sarr though, I don't worry about his. I think he can play every game until the end of the season. I think he's got that much work rate in it. I don't worry about his fitness. He just runs all day. So I think he's a mainstay in that midfield for us. He has
and the good thing with Sarr, when this channel first started, I said Sarr just runs about a lot and don't do a lot, but no, he's actually doing stuff. He's brought that to his game.
He breaks up a lot.
He was our best midfielder last season.
Yeah.
Chang, your front three?
Son, Solanke, and Johnson on the right.
You're on my good books, Chang.
Eugene, your front three. Bear in mind, guys, when we get Yang Min Hook in and Mikey Moore's fit, we're going to have some nice selection problems on the left and right. Well, Yang can play on the right as well. Your front three, Eugene?
Yeah, I agree. The only question is where Kulusevski plays and whether it's going to be him on the right or down the middle. So for me, I want to see Kulusevski down the middle, so Johnson on the right for me. And again, I feel like Liverpool is going to have most of the possession, so our only chance is on the counter, and Johnson is that guy in the near post. So I'd prefer that. Otherwise, if Madison, Sarr, and Basuma start, then obviously it's going to be Kulusevski on the right.
Well, if we play like we did against them, I know they had a sending off last year and all that, and Matt put a ball in his net, but we played really well. We did play really well against them.
Right.
They had two sent off.
Yeah, so
I think the line could be a lot different when we play Liverpool in the Carling Cup, in the League Cup. I think they'll put out a different lineup to what they're going to put out Sunday.
Honestly, I think we should strike a deal with Liverpool. We give them the 3 points in the league. They let us go through in the semi-finals.
I agree.
Nothing.
I'd take. To be fair, I'd take that.
Yeah, so would I immediately.
And that's why I'm not that bothered about tomorrow, because we won, last night. So now it's like, you know what? Any result for me would be great, but if not, I don't expect.
And the other thing we have to take into consideration when we're going to be playing these League Cup games against them in the semi-final is our fixtures coming to those games and their fixtures. Because we've got 2 European games at the end of January, on the 23rd against Hoffenheim away and the 30th against Elfsborg at home. And Liverpool will be having games there. And I think in the first week in February, after that last European game, so if we've got one, Liverpool will have one as well. What are they prioritising, right? So they said that the second leg, or the second leg, I think, is in the
beginning of February. The first week of February.
From the 3rd onwards. So if we're playing them then, and we'll have the easiest game. We've got Elfsborg at home. If we've clinched qualification, definite qualification, by beating Hoffenheim away, we get a chance. These are all like ifs, buts, and maybes, obviously. But I like the fact what we've got. I think is going to be less of a hard task than what Liverpool have coming to play on us in that second leg. So, but we'll see. The nearer we get there, we'll see what form we're in. We'll see what form they're in, because they're still going to be top 4. But Chelsea could go top tomorrow, So, So
we should have a fully fit squad by then as well.
Yeah, and you'll be spoilt for choice. And then when you win or lose a game, why didn't he pick him instead of him? Mark, prediction, scoreline.
When was the last time we had a fully fit squad? the first 2 games of the season and last year.
1974.
Exactly. So I don't know. It's going to be an issue. But what helps us, I believe, the weekend of our first cup tie or our first game with Liverpool, their weekend game is Man U. So I'm hoping they're going to rest some players for that game. So I'm hoping they're going to play
For
some
those of you
kids.
like omens, in 1973, Spurs drew 1-1 at Anfield in the League Cup semi-final. No, in the League Cup. I'm not sure it was a semi-final. No, we drew 1-1. I'm not sure it was a semi-final. I was at that game. I was at Anfield for that game in 1973. And the second lane at White Lane, we won 3-0.
I was 2, Adrian, so I won there.
And we went on to beat Norwich 1-0 in the final, Ralph Goldson, and I was at the final as well in 73, right? Those of you like omens, right? But
my dad was there.
Yeah. So, score. What did you say? Did you give me a score, Mark?
No, I didn't, because you interrupted me. No. I don't want to say it. No. Can I abstain from this?
You'll get splinters in your ass if you abstain.
3-1 Liverpool.
Don't bottle it, Mark. Don't bottle it, mate.
Yep.
Yeah, he's gone 3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool.
Phil?
I'm going to go for a 4-3 to Tottenham. I think it's going to be one of them games like against United.
Chang, you're on your score?
I'm going for 2-1 to Spurs.
Right, okay. So it's 2-1 against Mark.
Yeah.
Eugene, what are you going for?
I'm just going to just add to my prediction as well. It's going to be a Forster masterclass. And I don't mean in a positive sense.
Yeah. Eugene, your scoreline?
My heart says 2-2, but given if I'm being a pundit, unbiased, I'd say 3-1 to Liverpool. Unfortunately, I'll go with Mark.
2 each. I'm going a 2-0 Spurs victory.
2-0, a clean sheet. Wow.
Yeah, clean sheet. Yeah, I'm going for a clean sheet.
What, against Salah, Gakpo, and whoever else they got in their team?
Adrian, put some money on it. You're going to be a rich man.
Yeah.
Right. We've been going about 2 hours 42, but it has been a very enjoyable, interesting show, guys. There's some interesting, diverse opinions on everything we've discussed. I want to thank all my guests. You know where you are. I'm not going to name you. I want to thank everyone who's been in the chat channel, your comments. If you like our shows, please give them a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Season greetings to all Spurs fans out there, obviously. Once again, thank you all. And I will play you out with this. See you in a minute.